creating unrest in our country. Why the fuck are we bringing people in here that they're coming over here and protesting us? You're not even a fucking citizen. Get out. You don't like it? You want to protest? That's fine. Leave. That sounds like a great protest to me. Blocking schools is not protesting? Yeah, and that's another thing too, is we're trying to act like this wasn't some crazy ass shit.
Ties to Hamas. That said, I am concerned about free speech. I am a free speech absolutist. And so I wonder, what is the criteria here? Should we be deporting?
No, nobody is. She not. If I was sitting here posting her home address and what school her kids went to, she'd want me arrested. Nope. It's a free speech absolutist is not true. It's not real.
People who say criticize America and American policies. What's the line? Or is it only if you criticize Israeli government policy? So there are a lot of really good people right now who are very concerned about the chilling effect this could have, not just on these green card holders and these people on visas, but what's the message to American citizens about free speech?
That they still have it because they're citizens of the country and they have the right to the First Amendment. What do you mean there's not, like, what? This is not, like, what's the message? It's obvious you're a guest, yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, I'm a big fan of the two tiers, okay? Like, we don't need to treat people that aren't citizens the same as we treat citizens. It's insane. It's crazy it's even a conversation.
I wouldn't worry about American citizens.
Yeah.
It's not American citizens. These are people on student visas, in green cards.
No, I'm just saying the
They're
chilling
political agitators, you're correct? Yeah.
People...
I don't care.
It's foreign political agitators. Imagine defending that. We already have enough domestic agitators. We gotta import these people over here and educate them so they can start trouble? Fuck that.
Are they connected to Hamas, or are they just criticizing Israeli policy?
How's that in the best interest of anybody that lives here? It's not.
A lawyer I talked to this week, who's representing 9 families, says there's direct linkages to Hamas that they posted this group October 6th. Get ready for October 7th. So there's no doubt about it. There's organizations here. There's also, the hostages were saying that the Hamas hostage holders were bragging to them about their access to American students, the students in America, and that they were going to win the power of basically the publicity and marketing. They also tossed out somebody at Tufts University, caught this PhD student. They also got threw out yesterday at Harvard. They threw out a Ksenia Petrova, who's a Russian research associate, also with anti-American activity. You're over here, you're protesting this country and our allies. Goodbye.
I would just say this, Rachel. I see your point. I see how it could be chilling. But I want chills to run down the spines of not only terrorists, but people that are residents here. You're a visitor here.
Exactly.
You don't have
exactly. I want them to be afraid. Yeah, get the fuck out. Like, you're going to start trouble. You're going to come to a foreign country and start creating unrest in a foreign country. You better be fucking afraid. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Like, it's just like, it's such a crazy thing. Like, how do you ever, like, whose benefit is it that you have a bunch of foreign agitators from other countries coming into your country to start trouble? It's nuts. Really, like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Right, be on your best behavior here.
That.
And what we're dealing with is people that don't love the country, people that have radical ties, and I think they're trying to use our laws
Why
against
is this
us.
frowned upon everywhere but America? Because people here are dumb. That's the reason why.
At the time. I think what the Secretary of State is saying, look, I want to find visa violations. Many of these people have ties to foreign governments. They're trying to have dissent. They're trying to get us to be at each other's necks at each other's necks as well. And so you have to send a message to the people that are visitors. Don't come in my house and spray paint on my wall.
Exactly, bro. Like, fucking exactly. It's that simple. Zionists control the media. Like, here's the thing. Like, people try to make this like some kind of Jew shit. Like, I would say the same thing. Like, if you were in January 6th and you weren't a citizen, I would say you right now, you going back. You going back right now. Right away. You starting trouble? Nope. No reason for it.
And look, we have to deal with the.
I agree with that.
We have the American citizens that are degenerates. We have to deal with them.
It needs sanctions.
That is a part of our society. We don't have to deal with the visitors that are here. And I think that's what the Secretary of State is.
You know, when I was a child in a military brat growing up, I lived overseas almost exclusively. And when we went to I attended Department of...
Somebody says, you're a guest in a country. It's a privilege to be there, not a right. I agree. Giving people from other countries scholarships and visas to help out your country, bring others as benefit to our country. But don't be a threat and don't be a hindrance to the people in our country. It's just common sense. I know, bro. Like, I know it makes so much sense. But some people don't want to see it. Yeah, no. It's just... Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, fuck it. It's so... How do you not come out to that conclusion? I don't know what to say.
Defense schools, and we had to take a class called Host Nation class, where we learned about the host nation and we learned how to be a guest, a proper guest in people's country. That is my primary concern with this. And the other concern I have is the thing you touched on, but which needs more attention to, which is the fact that our universities are prioritizing foreign students because they pay full rate tuition, and a lot of these slots belong to American kids. How many valedictorian...
Yeah, no, this is true too. Like, why the fuck are we bringing in foreign people if we have people in our country that can't go to school? Why are we bringing in some random fucking person from India if we have somebody from Indiana that can't figure out how to get into college? What's the reason? It's for money? That's a stupid reason. That's a dumb reason. We give them money.
Aren't getting into these elite schools.
All of them.
Because
if they're white.
If they're white males. This is something, America is for Americans.
That's right.
And we need to prioritize that. So I think there's a lot to be said.
Yeah.
But let's also be careful, because we don't want to leave the impression on the world that we are not for free speech.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And
I think that we should be for free speech, but not for random ass fucking people that they're not even citizens here. They're not even citizens. Yeah, it's crazy. I got no problem with free speech for citizens. Everybody knows that. But these people not citizens. They're foreign agitators. That's it. We're for free speech, but abusing speech? Well, that's not it at all. So the government should make money, but not colleges? I feel like if a college has to operate in the best interest of the country, and then also, if we're giving them a bunch of money, there has to be, obviously, stipulations with that. And like, so if you have a college that's receiving money from the government, well, the government is taking that money from the people. So you are taking money from people and then you're reallocating it to groups. If those groups are not acting in the best interest of the people that you're taking the money from, I believe that you're engaging in something that's unethical, because you're taking people's money away from them and then you're investing their money in something that's not in their interest. It's that simple. And it's the same way that people can vote on this with, like, anything. Like, you have a representative government. Yeah, it's called an international studies program. I don't think we shouldn't have any of them, but the priority should be on American students. That's it. And that's the most important thing. Missed out, not abusing speech? Yeah, sure. And anyway, I'll read a few more of these. Why should our taxes go to foreign students instead of our dumb students? Yeah, exactly, right? And I actually don't think that it's a bunch of these... I don't think that, like... There are probably a lot of people in the U.S. that are not stupid that end up not going to college. Like, I mean, a lot of these people that are in these protests, they're spray painting walls, they're busting out windows. Am I really supposed to think that this is the best and brightest of the whole world? Fuck no. And so I go and I see this, absolutely not. Like, we have people like this at home. Yeah, just go to fucking Chicago. You can find somebody that busts out windows for a living. Put them in Columbia. We don't need to import somebody from India to do that. What are we talking about? It's insane. I feel like we should be more selective. Yeah. True, the smartest people I knew growing up went into skilled trades. Well, I'm not sure about that, right? But I think that there's plenty smart people here. Would you cancel a green card if they were advocating or demonstrating for lower taxes, or is it support of terrorism or creating problems you don't agree with? I think that if you do any crime in a country that you're not a citizen in, like, and I feel the same way about, like, these, like, streamers, like, nuisance streamers in Japan, is that if you do anything that's, like, beyond jaywalking, like, let's say you steal something that's $1, immediate deportation. Immediate deportation. Nope. No reason to deal with that. Why? For $1, you get the fuck out. Elon's latest tweet, scripted chance? Yeah, I don't know about that. I'd have to go back. Yeah, maybe charge him with a crime first? Yeah, no, you'd have to figure it out. I think the discussion are these protests crimes? Well, I mean, like, I use it as an example of this, right? So, like, in Columbia University, some of the protests were crimes because they were protesting inside a building that they had been told to leave by the police. They had taken over a building and they refused to leave the building. So if you were part of that and you were inside of that building, I think you need to go back. I think it's time for you to go back. Absolutely. And so that's it. They were trespassing. Yeah, and to me, it's that simple. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a crime to have a visa revoked. Yeah, exactly. You like those second and third wave effects of $1 policy too harsh, and you stop normal people from coming over, the actual people you want. Why do we need somebody to come over to the country that's going to steal shit for $1? Can you give me a universe where it's like America's really losing out for having a petty thief that gets deported? What are we talking about? You think we're going to have Albert Einstein come over here and, he just happened to steal a pack of cigarettes and so now we're going to deport him and we can't make the atom bomb? What are you thinking? Really, what are you thinking? Like, what world do you fucking live in? This is the most retarded fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. Well, honest people only? Yeah, people are retarded. Like, yeah, that's not what he said. That's what he meant. Yeah, that's not what he said, but that's what he meant. Absolutely. Oh, no. No, they're not popping off again. Members of the Revolutionary Communist Group and the other far-left extremists are gathered outside Columbia University. Okay, here we go. Let me just move in. Nobody's really breaking a law here, right? It's just a protest. It's not really, I don't think it's really a big deal.
Free Palestine!
Yeah.
Free Palestine!
Yeah. Yeah, I don't agree with them, but like, there's no destruction of property. They're, complying with the police. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with people that want to protest this and get mad about it, but just don't destroy property and break out windows. Like, I think that a lot of people don't really realize how bad it was last year. Like, these people, like these were people that were, ISIS arrested. These are people, this is a protester, that this is a vandalizer terrorist, right? I mean, what's going on with this? Look at this. Yeah. Worse than the BLM looting? I don't know. I think they're both bad. Like, I don't really have an opinion about, like, which one's worse. Like, I don't think there's really a point of discussing which one's worse. I think they're both bad. So, yeah. Why is it always university kids that are stupid with these protests? They support terrorism and then the next generation are doomed? No, because they usually get older and realize that they were stupid and then start voting in a more reasonable way. I think that it's mainly young people that are very privileged that want to have a cause to fight for because they think about people that grew up, in like previous ages. Like, you have like the civil rights era and these people were protesting for that. And then you had, obviously like, fucking... what was it, like any sort of like slavery stuff or any sort of racism. And I think there's one other thing that happened with that as well. So I think that's really what happens the majority of the time, right? Ultra left-wing teachers, they LARP as activists. Yeah, they're LARPing as activists. Most of these people didn't really care. And they think they're going to get away with it. But either way, yeah, so they're basically revoking a bunch of people. Columbia has reportedly just expelled the president of the grad student union for his arrests and the encampment and building takeover last spring. Columbia University has announced expulsions, multi-year suspensions, and degree revocations over the violent takeover of Hamilton Hall last spring. This is what happens when the federal government finally holds the universities accountable. Now, I think this is a huge W. I have no problem with peaceful protests, but you don't peacefully protest with a hammer. You don't. That's not how it works. And so if you bring a hammer to the peaceful protest, you have just disqualified yourself from peaceful protesting. Were the police, by the way? Well, they were trying to get into the building, right? And so, yeah, it's that simple. And what did Trump do? Pardon his terrorists? Two-faced? Yeah, I guess so, right? People always like bringing up January 6th as if this wasn't bad. So anyway, it looks like university statement. So this is what Columbia said themselves. Today, Columbia University Judicial Board, this is probably the other reason why they're protesting. The Columbia University Judicial Board determined that findings and issued sanctions to students ranging from multi-year suspensions, temporary degree revocations, and expulsions related to the occupation of Hamilton Hall last spring. With respect to other events taking place last spring, the UJB's determinations recognized previously imposed disciplinary action. The return of suspended students will be overseen by Columbia University Life Office. Columbia is committed to enforcing university rules and policies and maintaining our disciplinary procedures, probably, right? This should come as a surprise to literally no one. Really, this should be a surprise to no one. This place was violently taken over by activists that were, again, these people, they're protesting with hammers and breaking out windows. I'm sorry, but like, I have no problem with them getting around. I think this is from like last year or something, right? It was something else. But I have no problem with any of these people like sitting around and protesting and doing it walking, right? Sitting outside, talking about it, gathering there. But this right here, this is just destruction of property. Yeah, these are hammers of peace. I don't think so, man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're hammers of peace, guys. Man. I don't think so at all. Yeah, broken windows of empathy. I guess so. Self-deportation. So yeah, they destroyed tons of property. They were inside the buildings. They weren't complying with police officers. And ultimately, you know, Columbia University is not their own personal playground. It's not their place to tell people that we're going to break into this building and not allow you to come into it, just as a very, very baseline, simple perspective. And you think about probably collectively the millions of dollars this costs the university to repair all of this stuff, to clean up all the damage, to to process police reports and talk to the police, the energy that takes and time that takes. You have all of that, and then you also have like painting over the graffiti. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars. And then also you have some people that don't want to go to Columbia now. The university is now dangerous, right? You have dangerous people that have taken it over. I think that's a big thing. Also losing donations from big Jewish donators. Well, yeah, I mean, like, and I think it's really not that surprising. I mean, if you're a Jewish person, and the problem is that a lot of these people, and they've done literally no favors to themselves with this topic at all. These people have done no diligence, and they have taken no effort whatsoever to distinguish themselves from anti-Semitic terrorists. So big surprise that, Jewish people might not necessarily want to support a group or a university that is actively allowing people to advocate for what they believe to be their eradication. Big surprise. If I was them, I wouldn't give them any fucking money either. Like, I put myself in their shoes. Yeah. WTake, yeah. Why the fuck would you give these people a bunch of money if they're letting these clowns take over the university, and some of these clowns are supporting an organization that wants to destroy you and wants to kill you and says, like, oh, all Jews are bad, a curse upon the Jews. If I see that, and I'm a fucking Jew, I'm going to be offended. I'm going to be like, you know what? I don't want a curse on me. I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting here. What the fuck? Yeah, it's common sense. How do we get here? It's nuts. It is. It's so fucking obvious. So yes, I'm really, really glad to see this happening. This is a massive W. Yeah.
I blame Columbia for tolerating this.
Yeah.
The administration and the faculty at Columbia, they're a bunch of virtuecrats and moral snobs. They believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to harass the Jewish people. And the American people have given Colombia hundreds of millions of dollars. We just wait.
They did the same thing with Jewish people that people did with Asians in COVID. You remember all those videos of these like dumb racist people harassing Asians? It's like, just because you're a Jew doesn't mean you're a Zionist. I mean, it doesn't mean like you're an Israel fucking operative. It's crazy. Like, and it's Chinese people too. They're like, oh, it's from China. But like, I remember there were people that were conspiracy theorying about when that Chinese girl Kaisi came, and she was in Austin. I was hanging out with her, and they thought that she was like a CCP agent or something like that. They were like, well, yeah. So is it true that the CCP is sending in pretty young Chinese girls in order to compromise our American streamers and American influencers? And like, they had like all these examples of it, of like guys dating Asian girls, basically. Half of the Asian girls, by the way, weren't even Chinese, but it doesn't matter. Like, yeah. And I was thinking to myself, please let this be true. Please, please, please. I love China. Yes. Okay, guys. Yeah, that's what they want you to think. That's what I want to believe. It's not what I want to think. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so, right? Please compromise me. And so anyway, this happened, and it's just another, in my opinion, it's another flavor of that. It's another flavor of, xenophobic generalizing on people that aren't even, like, a lot of these people, like, these are people like, oh yeah, I'm Chinese. Yeah, I went there 2 times for like a week to visit my family. Okay, yeah, but the rest of the time you're in America? Yeah, you're mainly American. Let's be honest. And so anyway, but like, yeah, it's totally fucking different. Yep, exactly, yeah, 100%.
Wasted it. We've been better off taking that money and spending it on scratch tickets and blackjack.
Yeah.
And this insanity has got to stop. And I'm proud of the president, and I'm proud of Secretary Rubio for saying we've had enough.
Yeah, bro, these people are wilding out, man. They really are, and they're violent. That's the problem, is that they're violent. And that's really what the issue is. And over half of Columbia University's enrollment is now foreign students.
Over half of Columbia's enrollment is foreign students, and they're the ones, of course, who pay full tuition. Yeah. And so of the general studies student population. And that raises 2 questions. One, why is the American taxpayer, the Free Press reported that, $400 million in federal grants have been yanked. Why are American taxpayers paying to educate people who aren't Americans? And 2, it raises this question about immigration and which way the cultural exchange is going.
So the other day, 2 days ago, I do believe, right? This is Wednesday. So I think on Monday, Harvard froze hiring.
Damn.
What do you make of that? How do you read that?
It's interesting because a lot of these federal grants go to the hard sciences. So the professors who are supporting the protesters, supporting, BDS resolutions, saying, screw it to the administration, they're not the ones who are going to get pinched by the fact that Trump is pulling grant funding. So you're going to see a civil war within the universities of the serious researchers saying, hey, we just want to do our research. We don't want to get, in this, fight with the administration over this, versus the ones who say, no, this is the hill we're going to die on.
Okay.
Well, they're going to die on it. I'll tell you that. I mean, this kind of crazy fucking political shit, especially like supporting terrorist shit. Yeah, that's fine. And, oh my fucking God, taxpayer grants the universities with $1 billion endowments. Yeah, exactly. Well, why are we paying, and that's a good question, right? Why are we paying a bunch of money to educate people that aren't even from our country when people here can't even afford it, right? I think that's definitely true. Demanding Palestinian Columbia University Mahmoud Kamil into U.S. funds to Israel. Why are they, what I don't understand is that why are they protesting at the college? Shouldn't they protest at like a government building? Because the government are the ones that took this stuff. But Columbia University doesn't have anything to do with this. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe that's just me, right? But shouldn't they go to, like, apparently the guy's being held in Louisiana or something like that? Yeah, I don't know. That would be inconvenient. I see. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And, man. Let's see if there's any more of this. Cops are all over the place. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there is more of this, actually. NYPD officers. Oh, shit. see if I can find this here. I already looked at this too. And this is an hour ago as well. Yeah, this is, I think this is a lot of this is the same shit I saw before. Peaceful so far? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so far I totally support this. I mean, I disagree with it, but I support it. Does that make sense? Yeah, this is fine. Nothing wrong here. Yeah, it'll turn violent. Well, when it does, then I'll stop supporting it. But I don't think it's fair to, while a student walkout was expected inside Columbia University, according to protest flyers, the campus appears to be quiet. So nobody walked out of the class. Yeah, big surprise. I mean, the thing is that the people that do this are, in a lot of cases, like, some of these people have been, like, extremely violent and, like, aggressive and, like, hostile. And most people just want to go to school and deal with this and just not have to think about it, right? Like, yeah, they gotta go to class, right? I mean, what the hell is this? So you have people that are being violent and doing this stuff. That's it. Don't support, tolerate. Well, I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but I think that that's my point. So yeah, it looks like the student walkout. Well, they're walking out. Well, there is a walkout. They're walking out from one class probably to another class. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, right? Sure is a lot of walking. Yeah, I guess that's what's happening. There's a lot of reports that find out a bunch of the student protesters weren't even students. Well, I could have told you that. Easily, I could have told you that. Because the reason, and here's the reason why. It's because the student protesters, like, for example, I remember there were interviews with some of these protesters, and they asked, like, you know, what do you think about these topics? And these people didn't know anything about them at all. So that's really what it is. Yeah, they had no idea what the hell they were talking about to begin with, and they're just sitting up there starting trouble, being mad, because that's what they like to do. That's really the reason. That's mainly it. Yeah, it's actually that simple. Shocker. Yeah, I know, man. Y'all didn't even go to college? Shut the fuck up. I mean, I don't think you need to go to college to have an opinion on this, right? I mean, do you? And so this is the police here. So they're ready. They raid prep for this. Which, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because they had to deal with this shit last year. Yeah. Yeah, big surprise. Yeah, they already dealt with this last year. They're not letting this thing happen again. Absolutely. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, they're getting ahead of it. Yeah, it's smart. No, let me see if I can find another one. I've got no problem with people protesting and, like, doing it legally, but you have, like, people that are violent or anything like that. You know, if this, because the thing is, like, there's a chance that at, like, you know, 9 p.m. tonight or, like, you know, 11 p.m. tonight, you could have these people turn up and start trouble. But right now, it seems like that's not happening. But yeah, Columbia's kicking a lot of the people out that started the trouble, and I think that's a great thing. It really is. And I'm very glad finally we're starting to see, because, like, I saw a tweet that I agreed with, and this is the thing. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Conservative reporters are getting murdered in the streets. Journalists are getting swatted. Figures are getting death threats, assassination threats. DOJ needs to do something about the extreme uptick in domestic leftist terrorism. I think this is true. And there's been a lot of, like, just, yeah, straight up fucking terrorism. And you got to stop these people and hold them accountable. Libs of TikTok? Well, I understand it's a biased source, but I agree with what they're saying here. I do. And I think that, especially, like, the burning down Teslas and shit like that, that's crazy. Like, who does that? Really? Who the fuck does that? That's crazy. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. The game that people insisted and ensured and promised that, yes, in fact, let me go ahead and look at this tweet. This is a really funny tweet. Wait, he deleted the tweet? Basically what happened is that Dragon Age came out, and Dragon Age became an unfortunate battleground for, you know, the video game culture war, where, you know, you had characters that were turned into effectively, like, modern representations of, like, gender politics, And in general, it seemed like this game took like every opportunity that it could to take advantage of like a current social issue. It did that in spades. And I played Dragon Age a lot, and so when I'm talking about this, I didn't finish the game, but I played it for 135 hours. About half of that probably was me just leaving the game on overnight, but I went through pretty much every character, companion, full storyline, and I almost completed the main story, but I didn't finish it out. So, basically this game came out, and it came out to raving tremendous reviews. Everybody was saying this game was going to be insane. But anyway, so Jason Schreier made a tweet when the game came out, and he said, "Go woke, go oops, top the charts." And this was to make fun of the people who were talking about how like, oh, this game being woke is going to kill the game. It's going to be, oh, this game is going to be unsuccessful, right? Well, so actually, I actually don't like the game very much, but I do like seeing you chuds get dunked on. And so Jason Schreier, unfortunately, was captured by an ideology and decided to leave the element of reality. And unfortunately, we're snapping back to reality today. The sales for this game were 50% of what they were expecting. The game was projected to have 3 million players, and it had 1.5 million. And also, this is players, so keep in mind, let's use some logic here, all right? We're gonna talk about logic. A company releases data from their shareholder report. Shareholder reports are meant to ensure like competence and confidence in the shareholders. Right? Like, they're meant to raise the value of the company and communicate the value in a way that is most beneficial for the people that are running the company. So if you look at this logic, if they said 1.5 million players and they did not say sales, that means that probably the 1.5 million players is the most positive metric that they can use that is factually true. So it would even go to assume that it was under 50% of the sales expectations. Do you see kind of what I'm saying here? Because it would be logical that in the shareholder report, they would want to report the data points that would be most advantageous to them. And so if 50% is your best case scenario, think about what the actual reality is for the sales. Game Pass, beta, promotional copies, yeah. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, that's the best case scenario. I played it, but I refunded it. I think the game had some decent combat, and, you know, it had decent character building I enjoyed, but overall, I'm not surprised why this happened. I'll tell you that. And so we're going to look at some of the information about this, and we're going to see how the game did. So, obviously, there was a lot of celebration when Dragon Age the Veilguard first released, because the game seemed to have a lot of players. It had 90,000 players, and now it's been floundering, and it has 3,000 players. To be fair, this is a single-player game, and the majority of people that would have played the game have already played the game, and they've moved on. But unfortunately, for at least them, not a lot of the people even moved in the first place. So if you go to the Dragon Age Veilguard subreddit, you'll see that you have a bunch of twit-longers and essays about justifying addressing the anti-woke crowd. The issue with Veilguard is that BioWare currently lacks an executive truth. No, it's none of that had to do, like, there's an executive. No, this is the problem. My advice to fans, look at the game The Identity. How many of these games have to fail and cause a studio to close in order for people to realize that putting in divisive social issues inside of a video game divides people? And when you divide people, well, I don't know. I guess they did divide people. They divided them by about half. That's what happens. Too bad, huh? If you put divisive content into your game, you're going to have people that are divided. That's it. And so you have to ask yourself the question, when you're putting stuff like that into your games that you know that people won't like and will have a massive negative reception on social media,
Ask yourself the honest question, is this good for the company? Is it good for the long-term health of the company, the employees, and the product that you use it as a battleground for what your social ideology is? And it sure seems like the answer to that question here is very much a no. So, we can expect to see probably the studio that make this game get either shut down or massively resized. We're probably going to see dozens, if not hundreds of people lose their jobs. And the only thing that I have to say about it is rip bozo. You make garbage that nobody wants. Too bad. That's the way it goes. That's life. Downsizing is imminent. That's right. Make a bad product, people don't buy the product. Imagine that. Game director already left for free. Yeah, she roached out so fast. She's already gone, and they're not even hiring anybody for the studio. That means that they're basically going through the motions of getting rid of it. So yeah. EA shares dropped by 15%. Oh, let's take a look at that. EA stocks. Huh. That's pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah. That's almost as bad as Trump coin. Ooh. Ooh. Ouch. Eesh. You don't like seeing numbers like that, boys. Not so good. When was Veilguard released? I don't remember. It was like a few months ago, right? Like probably somewhere around here, right? Yeah, I don't know. But either way, yeah, massive fucking failure for EA, and it's going to cause. See, if you lose, think about that. You're losing 28% of your money. That means if you had $10,000 invested in EA, now you have $7,500 invested in EA. Right? Well, actually, a little bit less than that. About $7,000, or to be completely accurate, $7.11 or $12,000. So yeah, it's a huge amount of fucking money that you're losing. Okay, guys, massive amount of money that you're losing, and so that's basically what happened. Thank God. And I hope that this serves as a lesson to a lot of the other game developers that when you do something like this and you put content out there, and your game sucks, you're gonna be out of a fucking job. They've ruined so many games. Yep, that's right. So Dragon Age Veilguard has just cost investors 20% of their money. Not direct. No, I'm sure there were other confounding factors, but it was definitely a very big factor. And so Jason Schreier with the, go woke, be the top of the charts. Well, I guess that's not what happened. It's certainly not. And apparently he even deleted the posts that he made talking about this. Now, I like Jason and I respect him as a journalist, but I think that he's gone too far with thinking about this stuff. And I think that a lot of these like social issues have caused people to lose their objectivity, and they've made people accept realities that simply do not exist. And I think that in the process of that, you see a lot of people that have genuine talent and genuine like ability to do good. You see them basically gaslight themselves into living in a false reality. I think Jason is one of those people. So, you ever plan to retire? Do I? I don't think so. Jason chose a bad hill to die on. Yeah, well, it's not him that's dying on it. It's Dragon Age, and it killed itself. How do you think Veilguard will be remembered in 10 years? It will be remembered as a game that was a turning point for video games using social issues inside of the game. I think that you are insane if you think that the executives that are running video game companies don't see this and they don't look at all the negative reviews and negative sentiment and think to themselves, holy fucking shit, we need to stop doing this. Like, absolutely they are. Yeah, I think that's on Concord. Well, in general, right? But it's a cautionary tale. And also, and that's if it's going to be remembered at all. because you have so many other games that are even bigger failures like Concord. So maybe people won't even think about this game at all. Actually shooting yourself in the foot? Well, apparently they shot themselves in the head because it looks like the studio is probably going to get totally shut down. They paused all hiring for the entire studio, and all of those people are going to be out of a job. That's it. And so let's go ahead. We'll look at a few more posts about this and look into it. Let me see if I can find any more of these. Where is the rest of it? I think there's a couple of other tweets that I did not see, but let me go back and I'll find it real quick. Yep. There we go. This is a commercial success, actually. Man, that sucks. It still didn't sell well. So for context, just so you guys understand how much of a generational failure this was, let's assume at the most generous that they sold 1.5 million copies. They didn't. Let's assume that they did. That is almost 1/10 of the sales, or sorry, a little bit more than 1/10 of the sales that Dragon Age Inquisition had. And before you go and tell me that, oh, well, it came out a long time ago, do you really think that it's going to get 10 million more sales in the next 10 years? What are we talking about? Of course that's not going to happen. So, Inquisition wasn't even that good? Well, it was certainly a lot better than this. And that's what's happened. Deconstructing the notion of a commercial success. Well, here's the reality. A lot of journalists looked at this game as a cultural battleground, and they defended it without thinking and without any degree of rationality or common sense. So what ended up happening is that they were defending a product and defending something that nobody actually wanted, and they damaged their own credibility. I don't know how it was possible for journalists to cut their credibility in half, because I thought you couldn't divide by 0. But somehow they've managed to do it. And they are even less credible than they were. And it keeps happening over and over and over. It's a return to form. Yeah, it is. The form is being a corpse. Go. He went private a few months ago. His last posts on X are from November 2024. He's moved over, so now he's posting only on Blue Sky. Well, there it is. I don't know what to say. It's so funny to me. He roached out at Twitter, man. He did. I gotta get out of here quick. Yeah, EA, and to be fair, I think he did report on this himself and talk about it. I have to go back and see. Yeah, no longer on Twitter. Man. What's he saying on the Blue Sky? Nothing. Guys, this is free real estate for me. I love it. I do too. I think this is amazing. Because, and I also want to say, and this is absolutely me talking about the fact that I was right about everything. This was my original numbers for sales. And the number that I used for my estimation for how many copies this game sold was exactly accurate. And do you know why? By the way, do you know why I was able to do that? I'm not a wizard. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a Palantir. I can't see the future. But I know how data works. And I know how to extrapolate data and expand it based off of a representative sample. And if you've taken, I don't know, 2 classes in college, fuck, I'm pretty sure high school has a class in this. It's so easy to do. It's so simple. And people were giving each other the runaround because nobody can do math. It's embarrassing. Then apply common sense. Yes, of course. You base too much on SteamDB? Well, if I base too much on SteamDB, and I've been accurate with every prediction that I've made based off of SteamDB, I don't think that I do. I got lucky? Well, man, I sure do get lucky a lot, don't I? You were being honest, they weren't. That's true. And that's also, see, you know what? That's the bigger point. And I don't even think there's a really, you bring up a very, very good point. I don't think Jason Schreier and a lot of these other people that were defending Dragon Age the Veilguard are stupid people. I think that they are intelligent people, but they just have goals that are not the same as mine. So when they can't see the truth, it's not because they can't see it, it's because they won't see it. They don't want to see it, and they don't want to accept it. So that's the real reason. Yeah, money speaks. Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's it. That's really what's going on. It's not that they can't do the math. I think that they probably had to have known this, but they just went with it and they towed the party line. And hey, it looks like they're sinking. That's it. The goal is being access media. No, I think that there are a lot of journalists and a lot of people that have invested entertainment media that view their position in entertainment media as a responsibility of being a proliferator of an ideology. So they are trying to put forward an ideology to everybody. They want everybody to think the way that they do. And so what they do is they take instances of that ideology like existing and they make it look like it's better than it is. This game got a 9 out of 10 from IGN. Amazing. Guys, I think we really need to sit down and have an evaluation of who's writing and who's making these decisions. Because this is so distorted that, and I hope IGN hears what I'm saying here. IGN is probably the best gaming website right now on the internet. I think IGN has a lot of problems, but it's the best one. You are taking your credibility and somehow you are dividing it by 0, and it's working. If you look at these different websites, actually, I'm not going to pull it up on Google Trends. Every single one of these gaming journalism websites is totally fucking dying. And they are like at 10% of the relevance that they had 10 years ago. I'm not even kidding you. You can look it up and check the trends for yourself. Look at Polygon, Kotaku, IGN, any of them, PC Gamer, etc. You guys need to stop pushing bullshit. Because pretty soon there's not going to be anybody left to push bullshit to. And it's happening. Every single one of these times where you review a game and then the game is bad and people don't like the game, you know what happens? People take you less seriously and they think that you're stupid. Do that enough times and people stop listening. Here's the big thing that I think a lot of people need to understand. Do not put divisive political issues in video games. Your opinion of what is divisive is not relevant. What is divisive is relevant. Anyway, so this is what's happened. Dragon Age Veilguard was a colossal failure. A massive... I do think that people will look back on this and say, man, maybe we shouldn't make games like that anymore. Assassin's Creed just revealed how ugly the game really is. Oh, I guess they watched one of my videos. Let's see what they're saying. I've been a gamer my whole life. Never do people act more feral about a game than they did with Shadows. No, that's not even true. People did this way more with Concord. They did it way more with other games. To act like Assassin's Creed Shadows is like some kind of like unique thing, it's absolutely not. Like, people have been popping off about games like this for a long time. They say we gay, yeah. Cyberpunk, I mean, it's just not even true. Like, you've been a gamer your whole life, bro. Like, what? I guess he was born last year. Their ugly character surfaced more like he was allowed to surface because the general hate cloud above this game, hating their ugly character surfaced. Oh, like a person's character. He's talking collectively about those people. Okay, hating on the game was the socially acceptable thing to do, and oh boy, did they take advantage of that. Well, why do you care about what's socially acceptable? Just do what you believe in. I mean, like, who cares what people think is acceptable? And I'm talking about the blatant racism, bias, and openly admitting to tens of thousands of people that wanting tens of thousands of people to lose their jobs. Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody does a bad job, then wouldn't you want them to not do that job? I mean, I feel like that's kind of fair, right? I mean, am I crazy? I feel like this isn't evil, it's just reality, it's cause and effect. Yeah, sorry guys, but yeah, you do a job, it's not very good, and you get fired. That's life, and you can't handle that. Well, you know, wait a few years until robots take everybody's job. We'll have universal basic income, and you can sit home and write posts like this every day, which probably this person's already doing. I literally see comments with thousands of likes that are along the line of Assassin's Creed steal your wallet, or Yusuke is going to be a loot hoarder, or of course he is destroying other people's property just like in IRL. Right, because it's a black guy and they're trying to be racist. Wow, that's really bad. Okay, so this person has identified that racial stereotypes are bad. Thank you very much. Yes, that's correct. Wow. This is probably the bravest post I've ever seen that's been put on Reddit before. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, yeah, we didn't know that. Thank you. I that exactly. And not only that is the nitpicking and saying a certain slimy... A certain slimy goober who has way too much influence considering he's one of the filthiest people alive, sucks at video games in general, and has had borderline Nazi views. Again, Nazi is when you are not seeing their point of view. And so, that's what a Nazi view means. And so anyway, I wonder who he's talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure. Jeez, who could it possibly be? Man, I wonder. Did Elon Musk write this? Definitely not. And game gas, medication minigame, and settlement building minigame. Why is this even in the game? This person watched my video. He watched my video. Look what he says. You guys can't read it. I'll read it out a little bit. Game gas has, he means has, medication minigame and settlement building minigame. Why is this even in the game? Game has animal painting activity. Bro, why is this even in the game? I can't kill the bird? Like, Jesus Christ, it's literally clinging to every single issue to make the game look worse. So you didn't answer the question. Why is it in the game? You complained about me talking about it, but you didn't say why it's a good idea. He watched it. So let's see what's happening with that video. Let's go back over here. Asmon Gold, Assassin's Creed Shadows. This video came out 2 hours ago. He's got me on notifications, gentlemen. This post was made 1 hour ago. This message was made 10 minutes ago. Oh my God. They walk among us. He's a big fan, he is. So I put this video out 2 hours ago and people are unhappy. I guess somebody's unhappy about the video. Well, let's see what everybody else thinks about it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up. Wow, looks like everybody loves the video. What a surprise. And so anyway, we'll go over and I'll see if I can find this Assassin's Creed. It must be this one here. This is the top post. Oh, it's 12 hours ago. Wait. So he watched me live. How is it that... Man, this is crazy. He was here. He was here for the live edition, man. And he didn't even wait for me to go to YouTube. He's among us. I know. It's a hate watcher. Look at this. Let's see here. Locking this post for now. I've leaned towards ignoring the gaming community at large because of the toxicity, and I did this years ago. I left all the generic Facebook groups. It's so much more of a pleasant place. It's honestly how crazy almost everybody has the hate boner for Ubisoft these days. I don't like Ubisoft or today either, but I'll try the game out myself and form an opinion instead of hating without rhyme or reason. Well, I gave a number of reasons in a video. You just didn't like them. That's it. And I'm amazed how rabid the Prince of Persia sub has gotten. I don't know about that. I didn't read that. So some of the dumbest takes I've seen over Shadows make me feel like a genius. How's a 6-foot black man going to be stealthy in feudal Japan? The game is set in Japan. There's no Asian protagonist. There is one, just if you move your sexist views aside. Okay, so there isn't one. Better play Ghost of Yotai than what the fuck PC and Xbox gamers going to play? What the fuck are PC and Xbox gamers going to play? Yeah, just go play Elden Ring again. Now you're too good for Elden Ring? You can't, yeah, go play Ghost of Tsushima again. That's on PC. What are you talking about? I can confirm that according to a source familiar with the person, that is in fact Jason Schreier's alt account. He watched this live. Did he really? Yeah, he wasn't a fan of it. I'm not surprised. What's the rest of these? I'll look at the other posts that they're making. And okay, I'm starting to get direct messages telling me to mauled and that I'm terminally online. This is proving my point. Wow, so somebody is disagreeing with you? So let me get this straight. The gaming community is toxic because they said you're malding? What? What is this? This is crazy. Who is this guy? I disagree with him now. Yes, it's amazing. He's going and hating. I know. He posted a skull. He's under 20. Well, he has this here. Oh, this is not a surprise to anybody, but he has an 18+ profile. I'm sure there's no way that he posts on furry subs, right? There's no way that happened. And I certainly hope not. Anyway, so yeah, this is the people are disagreeing with me. I can't believe it. Yeah, let's see here if I can find the rest of these. Are any of these people even talking about me? No, it's just other random people. But so this guy watched my stream live, and he got so upset about what I said about Assassin's Creed that he went to the Assassin's Creed subreddit to write a a negative post about me, crying about it. That's amazing. But guys, keep in mind, the important thing is that he's not terminally online. Because people that are terminally online, let's look at this. 69,000 comment karma, 4,600, and 465,000 post comment. Yeah, definitely not. Sorry to say. Absolutely. Wow, I don't know what to say. Top 10% poster? Yep, that's it. He who shall not be named. I am multiple. I am. And leave the multi-billion-dollar company alone. Well, it doesn't matter if it's made by a multi-billion-dollar company or by one person. Things should stand on their own merit and be criticized based off of that. And if it's made by a big company, I'm going to expect a little bit more. And call me crazy, but a big portion of your fan base can easily be between your game being a massive success and your company dying. Wouldn't it be wise to not push off the portion of that portion of the fan base? Yes, it's true. And how they just disregard the student authority where they get the money from and apply all the customers. Exactly. And well, that's what's going to happen. So once again, it's another person who. Again, we have a massive mental health crisis. It's tremendous, gigantic, huge, massive, and we used to have mental asylums, and we still do, and now people check themselves in. It's called social media, and here we are. Here he is, getting mad, crying. And so, yeah, there we go. And fighting reality must be an overwhelming task. I know. I'm sure that this person's going to really have fun playing the game. I can't wait to play it. It's going to be great. 3 indie games, surely not a coincidence. BioWare went to Exodus, The Witcher went to Blood of the Dawnwalker, Assassin's Creed Shadows went to Expedition 33. I'm going to be real. I am along for the ride. If people have a good game they're making, then I'm going to play it. If they don't, then that's too bad. Yeah, I'm not that worried about it, guys. That's okay with me. And, but, yeah, I mean, if they're going to make a bad game or whatever, I mean, this is the thing is that I have the system. So, basically, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show a little bit of the secret, okay? This is the Asmongold YouTube formula for games, okay? So, all right, let's see here. We have, okay, I think this should be fine. Let me move this over here. You guys might not understand yet, but you will. Okay. Farm, game, hype, hate before release. Game comes out and is bad. And game comes out and is good. Okay? So, this is the system. This is how it works. And that's it. Yes, basically this is perfect. So there's literally nothing that can happen where it's not a good outcome for me. And that's it. And so we literally can't lose. That's right. And so I've been thinking about this for a long time. And it doesn't matter whether a game does well or it doesn't do well. I will play it and I'll make content out of it, and it doesn't matter. Where can I sign up for your MB Pro? What if it's boring? Oh, then I don't play it. But I'm not farming the game anyway, right? That's it. But yeah, that's the only negative one. Game is boring, or like nobody really cares that much about it. It's just a remaster for a game like nobody gives a shit about. Then yeah, that's definitely disappointing. But usually that's not what happens. But yeah, tweet that Asmon, please. I can screenshot it and save. Let's see, where is it? And we have a bunch of other ridiculous fucking posts on here. Let's see here, the master plan. Okay, perfect. You find out when the hype phase falls? Yeah, exactly. Eggs, please? Why are you typing that? You typed it twice. That's enough. Stop it. You're annoying. I'm not a bird, man. I can't give you an egg. Shut up. You think I'm a chicken? Anyway, what the fuck is that Quinn one? Which one was that? I think he died in like a game or something like that. Yeah, it's probably what happened. Yeah, I forgot exactly like what caused this to happen or like what led up to this outcome. But yeah, this is probably sometime around Diablo 4, I would say. Something like that. But yeah, there you go. Fixed your game. And so it doesn't matter whether a game is successful or not to me. I don't care. So when I see this, all I think about is, wow, I'm going to get 6 videos instead of 3. That's it. So I don't worry about it at all. And I know some people are unhappy about the way that I handle content and the way that I do things, but there's a reason why people watch it, and people watch it because they like it and they agree. So if you don't want to get mad at me, don't get mad at me. Get mad at people for watching it. That's it. Did you see Linus Tech Tips being exposed? Nope. I'm not going to cover it. I'm sorry to say. I said it before. And I apologize because like I do try to keep out of drama where there's people that, you know, I've interacted with or like people that I know, etc. I'm not really going to get involved in it. Yeah, but he's had a number of like public dramas. Somebody on Twitter, I will say this about Linus though. I think Linus should stop commenting on drama. I think he should just not respond to it unless it's something that's like legit slander or libel. Just don't respond to it. You don't have to get your 2 cents out there. In my opinion, I think the Linus hate is like really kind of forced, where a lot of people, and I'm not making a judgment on every drama that's ever happened. I'm just saying that I think a lot of people hate him in a disproportionate way. I think it's kind of unfair. But not that criticism isn't unwarranted. Everybody is subject to criticism. Anyway, my point is that I don't think you should respond to this stuff live. You don't have to get your 2 cents out there. Just keep making your videos. You're massively successful. You've built an entire media empire. You've already won the game. You got a chance to retire as a CEO. Now you just get to make videos. Don't get yourself involved in drama and stuff that stresses you out. That's the way I see it, right? Comments are wild. I feel like Will Smith will slap me for making fun of it. They sell her hair as a separate DLC. The trailer's 2 hours ago. You, it's so old we need a remaster. I'm so glad that Concord's getting a sequel. I'm excited. This game is going to make $1 quadrillion. From the same people, but not the same studio. Sorry, the same studio, but not the same people. The main character looks like she belongs in Concord. The last game from us. Good one. Sony, you forgot to disable comments before the remaster. Looks like Concord wasn't enough for Sony. They're coming back for more. And from the studio that got rid of all the developers that made your favorite childhood games, we got Concord 2 before GTA 6. We got Concord Remaster, basically. Lev from The Last of Us 2 has grown up and went to space. Modern audience is going to have a field day with this one. Is the modern audience in the room with us now? Yep, there are a lot of these. It is kind of funny for me to see it, though. And what game is this? It's Intergalactic. It's a new game. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. Just look at his eyebrows.
Face me. Your defeat shall serve as proof of my readiness to rule.
There's no way I'm actually doing this.
It is only right that I should take your realm, for none among you has the power to stop me.
That's crazy. I thought this ship was, I thought it was sped up or something. It was, I thought it was totally, I don't know why. Like, this is why I'm getting wrinkles on my fucking forehead. I keep doing this shit. Not gonna lie, I thought you did it on purpose. No, not really, actually. If you can believe it, I actually didn't. And it's just what happens. But I don't know if I do that off stream, though. Holy fuck. This is the first big update. Oh, oh, oh. Look at that. I hate that fat bitch. I hate this fat bitch, too. And this is the new one. All right, so they got brand new content coming out.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ryozo Tsujimoto, producer of Monster Hunter Wilds. It's been a month since release, and I'm glad to see so many people enjoying our game.
This has been, by the way, Monster Hunter Wilds has been the biggest breakout success that I think Capcom may have ever had on Steam. Like, it is actually such an incredible, massive, fucking monumental success. It is insane.
For your support.
Like, just for context, Dragon's Dogma 2 had 200,000 players. Monster Hunter Wilds had 2 million.
I would like to share details about our first free title update for the game. We prepared a video highlighting what's in store, so please enjoy.
1.3? Sorry, it was 1.3. Excuse me. It's not that much. I don't know why I said 2 million. Yeah, it's 1.3. Oh, this is a new area. Wait, they're adding in a whole. Holy fuck! Is this like the gathering hub? Oh fuck yeah! Oh, this is awesome. By the way, this is the future, I think, of where MMOs are going. Like solo gameplay that's optional with multiplayer elements with shared spaces for gathering. Like places like Stormwind, etc. Master rank? No, that's probably not gonna be until the expansion. That's what they did with Iceborne. Same with rank 4 gyms. Oh. Okay. This bitch is fast. God damn. Arc Tempered Raid out. I feel like with how often Raid out goes up and flies around, like it's still gonna be easy because you're just gonna be able to just like fucking stagger him out of the ground, right? So I don't know. They have to change his mechanics. Arc Tempered's no joke. Yeah, it'd probably be harder. First free update, April 4th. Okay. So there's 3 new monsters. Oh, they're adding Zoshia in as like a harder mode. Let's see. Mitsune
will be making its way to the wilds for the first title update.
So this is a brand new boss. I'll block that.
At hunter rank 21 or above, talk to Kanya in the Scarlet Forest to unlock the mission to hunt Mizutsune.
Okay. There's a girl armor, bro.
Arch-Tempered Ray Dow will debut in an event quest. Arch-Tempered monsters are stronger than tempered ones.
I wonder how much harder it's gonna be. Because, like, am I the only person that tempered monsters and normal monsters are basically the same? I can't even really tell the difference. Because, like, when I did Arc-Tempered Nergigante, he was a lot fucking harder.
Hero, to do that.
Armor will accompany this new enemy, with the Ray Dow Gamma and Feline Ray Dow Gamma sets becoming available to forge. Hunters ranked 50 and above will be able to challenge this fearsome foe when the event quest goes live. So please, give it a shot.
I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him. So they are adding Zoshia
Hunters
back.
experienced the power of Zoshia just once in the game's story.
Yeah.
Now get the chance to fight this fearsome monster again.
Okay, that's good.
The Zoshia quest will be accessible after completing a mission that unlocks at Hunter rank 50 and can be selected in the environment overview.
Oh, this is gonna be badass.
Zoshia will also appear during the Wyvern's Awakening in the ruins of Liberia and can be made into a quest.
You saw you have to be Hunter rank 50? Yeah, so you have to be Hunter, so you gotta get 50 now. My recommendation is get 100. That way you can, like, meld tier 2 gems.
Use materials from Zoshia to forge Hunter and Palico equipment.
I already got 100. It took me like 2 days. It's easy. The Grand Hub.
The Grand Hub is a gathering place packed with even more things for hunters to do.
This looks so good. This looks amazing.
Have fun interacting with each other in new ways.
Oh.
Roll barrel bombs into targets in the new minigame, Barrel Bowling.
Nice. That's the real
Play
gameplay right there.
Useful items and pendants for your hunts.
Okay, cool.
Barrel bowling vouchers can be obtained in many ways, such as via login bonuses. The Grand Hub has long served as a place of worship to the people of Suja. At night, you may find the diva singing an offering.
So
you can focus in on the diva while she's performing, so be sure to give her a listen when you get the chance.
Yeah.
The squad information counter will move from the Windward Plains to the Grand Hub once travel to the location becomes available.
That's good, because you want to have people that go into the spaces with other players, because it feels good to be in a game where you're surrounded by other people. Yeah, this is good. Very good.
Allowing you to conveniently manage your squad. Unlock the Grand Hub at Hunter rank 16 and above by talking to Tetsuzan in Suja, the Peaks of Accord.
Okay, so that's pretty early on. Oh shit, they're gonna add this back? Yeah, this is a Monster Hunter World. This is a lot of stuff to add.
With hunters across the world for the fastest completion times in the newly added arena quests.
Well, that's cool.
View world rankings on the Expedition record board at the entrance to the Grand Hub.
Oh shit. Damn, so they're adding in a whole ranking system.
Challenge quests and free challenge quests will also be available as limited time event quests.
That's good.
Fight to shave down your time and earn the highest rank possible.
So you get an A rank. 5 minutes? That's easy.
Participation rewards for challenge
That's
quests.
Super easy. 5 minutes on a Doshigama.
In addition, you can earn even more special pendants depending on your personal time and world ranking.
Nice. Yeah, this is so good.
Limited bounties will be available and posted on the Expedition record board. Arena quests and challenge quests must be fought with predetermined equipment and are for up to 2 players.
Predetermined equipment.
Free challenge quests are all for up to 2.
Oh, so you actually have to do it. Okay.
2 players.
So you can't overgear it.
Free challenge quests are also being introduced in Wilds. These quests have no equipment limits and are for up to 4 players.
Okay.
For any of these quests, you can bring support hunters to fill any available player space.
Okay.
Take on arena quests from the Arena Quest counter in the Grand Hub.
Okay.
Gear up and prepare to prove your hunting prowess.
And now we get to the real content of the game.
Change Alma's outfit from the appearance menu at
Thank God.
An outfit for Alma will be available for free, so give this new feature a try. In addition, after completing a certain side mission, Alma's glasses will also be changed.
Wow. Really? Oh shit.
Free content is coming for all players. In addition to the previously mentioned outfit for Alma, classic gestures from the series are making their return. These offerings will be available in the store for free.
Can I get the Yuan gesture?
Pack 1 will be launching alongside this update. Premium Deluxe Edition and Cosmetic DLC pass holders can download this content immediately upon release.
Wow. Could not give a fuck. Okay, great.
In addition, new camp gear options are being added.
I wonder if they're ever gonna do... It seems like they're building towards maybe having player housing in this game. What do you guys think? Do you think that's on the menu? I think it's possible to be on the menu. Like a private quarters? Yeah, something like that.
I think they could maybe do that. It was in World? Really? I didn't even know that. Bro, fuck fishing. This is, dude. Oh my god. I did all the fishing quests. Fuck that.
Even more content not included in packs will also be available.
Wow.
Customize your Wilds experience to craft your own personal hunting adventure. Visit the official website for more details.
Well, it goes without saying, I'm gonna play the fuck out of this. Man. The event quest, what's this?
Event quests are also planned to continue coming to the game. Earn special armor, quickly raise your hunter rank, and collect ingredients for cooking on the barbecue grill in a variety of upcoming quests.
I hate this dick sucker. He's one of the worst
season. Celebrations are held at the Grand Hub. First is the celebration of spring coming April 23rd. The Festival of Accord Blossom Dance.
How is it that this is like, this is crazy? They're adding this much shit into like just basically. I mean, it's basically a live service game at this point, right? Like, damn. This is a much bigger update than what I thought.
During seasonal events, the appearance of the Grand Hub and available meals will change. And you can obtain limited equipment, gestures, pop-up camp decorations, and more. In addition to seasonal event quests, most previously available event quests will also make a return. Come join the celebrations at the Grand Hub.
Okay, so now we get to see what happens after this.
Allow me to go over the schedule of the upcoming content.
What else is after this?
The first free title update for Wilds will be released on the date you see on your screens.
April 2nd. Okay, so they recorded this
Hunters
before they
will
knew
be
what
able
time it was
to
going to come out.
encounter Mizutsune, travel to the Grand Hub, and take on challenging arena quests.
So Arc
The
Tempered
Festival
Raidal
of
is at
Accord
the end of
Blossom
April.
Dance will be held in celebration of spring. Arch Tempered Raidal will debut in an event quest. In a later update, there will be a collaboration with another Capcom title. We also plan to add a list showing the endemic life
You know what they should do? They should add in the Chimera and probably maybe the Minotaur from Dragon's Dogma 2.
For the ultimate weapon is host to a power.
Yeah, I feel like that's like so easy to do, right? Capcom Club. No, it's another Capcom title, so it's not going to be Bahamut. The Hydra, dude. If they added in the Hydra from Dragon's Dogma 1, that would be fucking crazy.
Capture, and we'll share more information on this later.
It would be like the Dark Souls 1 Hydra. Add in the Sphinx, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to today's announcement. For more information about the first title update, please check our official website and social media. Also, I'm happy to announce that we're planning a second title update for Wilds for summer.
Wow.
Please
So that's
look
in like,
forward to hearing more details
that's in like
about
3 or
it
4
from
months
us in the future.
Holy shit.
Thank you for playing
Wow.
Monster Hunter Wilds, and I hope you continue to enjoy the game. Now let's wrap this up as we always do. Happy hunting!
What have you done?
Second free title update. What's this? I don't know what boss that's gonna be. Who's that? The Carecross? Is he like, I never played the game with that, so I don't even know who that is. Yeah, the only one that I played before this was Monster Hunter World. I'll tell you this, man, we eat good. I'll tell you that. We are eating real good. This looks awesome, man. This looks amazing. Yeah, like I'm really excited for this. Like, this is awesome. They should add Godzilla to Monster Hunter. Yeah, maybe you're right. And yeah, it's free. Go free. I mean,
Yeah, it's a free update. Yeah, exactly. Well, the next one that they're probably going to have that's going to cost money is probably going to be the expansion itself, right? That's kind of what I would assume. Yeah, this update is crazy. And I'm glad that they're adding in the arc-tempered Ray Dow. Like, I still think that, like, it's... If I was going to add in an arc-tempered version of any boss or any monster, what would I want? Let me think about that. What is the best monster in the game?
Such devastation. This was not
should have been Arkfeld? Gore Magdala? Gore Magdala is the hardest. I think he's the hardest monster.
Has exhausted what strength you had left. Van Belsar.
I don't know. Maybe Ray Dow is the best option.
Broken.
Yeah, I don't know. Kongolawa? The fucking gorilla? You want to have that?
To you.
Yeah, no, not goddamn Arkfeld. Yeah, I feel like Arkfeld at this point...
We'll speak later.
People are probably so good at fighting Arkfeld that they would probably have to make a mechanism where, like, the Arkfeld chains get more powerful over time. Like the same way that Nergigante's spikes get more powerful over time. In order, like, they'd have to, like, redesign the boss. I think so. Or at least slightly. Rajang, yeah, it should be Gore. Yeah, well, they have a monster that's kind of like Rajang, but it's not, like, exactly the same. Ubisoft is planning to protect developers from harassment with Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Hope you guys have had a great weekend. We've got some hilarious news being reported here. Apparently, Ubisoft is, as Bandar Hub says here in their tweet, preparing to curb the backlash against critics of Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're going as far as sending lawyers after you if they deem your criticism a targeted attack or harassment. My God, isn't that pathetic? They include this diagram. Let's check this out.
Yes.
Ubisoft prepares an anti-harassment plan to target news, according to BFNC. An extreme and stressful situation, Ubisoft prefers to anticipate an anti-online harassment plan.
No, this is what's going to happen with new games. This happens with all games nowadays. Ubisoft's sore losers. Well, that's why they sent you a copy. Oh, so wait. Wouldn't that be entrapment?
Was even presented to the CSP to accompany the game's release and protect and deploy it. Quote, it's an initiative from Canada. There's a team that monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack.
Initiative from Canada.
Explains an elected official. Psychological and legal support is promised to employees who are targeted. Another quote, unlike what we've had before, this is serious.
Yeah, true.
Thus, messages posted by internet users on X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, or even videos on YouTube will be closely monitored by a dedicated unit in order to respond quickly to the slightest problem. Lawyers are already ready to file complaints as they have proven
The thing is that, and this is the problem that I have, in essence, I agree with this. I think that if you're harassing developers on a personal level because you don't like what's happening in a video game, you need to be put in a box because you're not ready for civil society. You're not ready to be in the real world. You need to be in a box, and that way you don't hurt yourself or hurt anybody else. But where do you draw the line here? Sounds like a sales pitch to the workforce? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and also, by the way, this really, it doesn't hurt anybody. So good, huh? Not so good. We have to define harassment. Yeah, if an employee is public. Well, I think harassment is very simple, right? Harassment is when you make something personal, when you are attacking them in private channels. Like, for example, you see a developer, you find out their phone number, and you're calling them. That, in my opinion, is uncivilized behavior that no one should be expected to tolerate. No one should tolerate that. You do that, that's harassment. But saying that your game sucks dick on Twitter is not harassment. And hopefully it's not the truth either. I guess we're going to find out.
It's seen the sort of corpo jargon from various other corporations before as well. Yeah. And they seem to love loosely defining this stuff or like not defining it at all, right? Like oftentimes what they would call targeted harassment or attacks is like valid criticism against their game. And you would think this sort of corporate
yeah, I think that all the time people conflate harassment and criticism in order to make people feel sorry for them, basically. I think that's effectively what happens in a lot of cases.
This is something anyone would like get behind criticizing, right? Like this is not something. However,
I'll give you an example. So an example of this is like that Matt Hansen guy from Obsidian. People were criticizing him and attacking him personally, but I think that all of that criticism is completely fair, and there's nothing wrong with it, because he's making personal statements on a public website. If you're making public statements on a public website, and then people come back and they say, "Wow, these statements are really stupid, and it sounds racist for you to say this," that's not harassment. At all. He came out and was done publicly? Yeah, exactly.
Activist Atlas the Gamer apparently is taking Ubisoft's side on this one.
Well, they
write, Ubisoft reportedly has landed dead from harassment when Assassin's Creed Shadows launches with the bullet points. Ubisoft reportedly has plans to play protect devs review after Assassin's Creed Shadows. Devs are apparently already being told to be cautious on social media, and Ubisoft is also said to be...
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I think that the video game industry has a huge problem of these like weird, like completely socially captured like identity politics zealots that are now in video games. And Ubisoft doesn't want to have like what happened to Obsidian happen to them. They don't want to have one or two of their employees that has like these extreme weird views go out and just start fucking saying this from the rooftops, and now everybody's mad and they don't like your game. That's not just the video game industry? Yeah, but I'm talking about video game industry. You put it in the box? Yeah, no, for sure. And one dude killed Avowed. Okay, but when will that put you in a box because you're talking about a game? Well, if you are invading a person's personal space and harassing and stalking them, and in some cases threatening them, this is something that doesn't have anything to do with video games. So criticism of a video game is very different than personal harassment. Like, it's that simple.
Collaborating with a Canadian government agency is combat online abuse. What? I think they meant to combat online abuse, not is combat online abuse, but who knows with these people.
Yeah.
Furthermore, they actually write, like the full article here, they say, it's hard to imagine that morale has been great at Ubisoft since Assassin's Creed Shadows revealed.
I bet.
The first trailer was released last spring, and since then the game has been hit with delays, and the studio has faced layoffs. But of course, the main story surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows is the backlash, as the anti-CPI, whatever it's called now, movement is the latest target. This was all because...
Well, this isn't limited to games like AC Shadows. TTP dropped all communication because players went too far. Yeah, exactly. And this is and the problem is that this is it's like that meme, the worst person you know made a great point. I think that's the situation here. I actually support Ubisoft in this, but the question is always to what extent will this be used?
One of the game's protagonists, while critics say that they take issue with Shadows referring to Yakuza Samurai, it doesn't take a lot of looking to find violently racist imagery and language being used towards the game and its depictions of black protagonists. The backlash was intense with Elon Musk joining in on the hate. So, let's pause for a second. There's been a lot of critiques towards this game for various reasons, including even the architecture apparently being more Chinese than Japanese.
And it's not hate entirely. Like, there are some people that just disagree with you. Like, they might not like what you're doing. That's not necessarily hate. Can you clarify this situation with, like, Dragon Age Veilguard? Again, which game had senior devs getting on his soapbox? Do you think these scenarios are different? Sure. With Veilguard, any of the criticisms of the only person who was outspoken in Veilguard was Corinne Bush, which was one of the main directors of the game. And I never said that it's this person's fault. I never harassed them. I said they did a bad job, because I think that they did. But other than that, who gives a fuck? I think that it's such an obvious difference whenever you're talking about harassment versus criticism.
Including people who even tried the game out already, criticizing how clunky Yasuke felt to play, and/or that y'all just made the combat like way too easy. It's like easy mode. Those are just a few examples. But hey, to the activists over at the Gamer, of course they want to try and manipulate a narrative around it. I also love how journalists and other modern audience type people, etc., constantly try and act like DEI is something that like gamers made up. When we're just using the term that
yeah, that's exactly right. And I've noticed this a lot, is that they use DEI as if it's like this fake boogeyman, but they were the ones that, like, they created the term. Yeah, they created it themselves.
Those literally made. You have literal corporations and government agencies using this term, and then when people start talking about it in the public, suddenly, whatever they're saying, DEI, woke, whatever. It's like, bro, we're literally using the corporate terminology. And you would think that these activists in the Gamer would agree to criticize corrupt actions from corporations, including this whole, like, new policy that Ubisoft is apparently implementing to protect Assassin's Creed Shadows from critique. But no, to these activists, just because gamers are critiquing Ubisoft, they decide they want to stand with corporations, with giant corporations. Yeah, wonderful activism, isn't it? Continuing, they say.
Well, it's because they're aligned with it, because the journalists get the same type of criticism as well. But a lot of these journalists do the same thing, is that they write articles that are misleading, slanderous, untrue, or just a lie in one way or another. And then they act like they're getting harassment when people are saying that you're a liar. That's what happens. I think that happens a lot.
It prepared.
It's super common.
What is this? Now it seems that Ubisoft, it prepared for this to even get worse at launch. As reported by Tech & Co., spotted by Reset Era user Arabedo, Ubisoft is said to have implemented a plan to protect its devs as we approach Shadow's
Big
launch.
plan.
This reportedly includes offering psychological and legal support, and is part of the Canadian initiative against online abuse. Fortunately, this is something.
This is why I don't want them to be a state.
Have to account for. Of course, the attacks have been going on for some months. We're advised not to post on social media that we're working with Ubisoft to avoid harassment, says one Ubisoft worker quoted the report. As part of this, Ubisoft is said to be working with the Canadian Communications Security Establishment and has drafted up a plan to combat harassment. It's an initiative from Canada. There's a team that monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a target attack. Unlike what we've had before, this is serious. Assassin's Creed Shadows launches on March 20th. We'll have to wait and see where it lands with fans and critics.
Oh my god. I just don't think the strategy of demonizing your audience is gonna work. I don't. I feel like that's a pretty bad way of doing things. And also the problem is that, see, this is the issue that I have with this. Because again, I support this in theory. But the problem is that the theory is very often not accurate. They're really saying someone call the cyber police? Yeah, can you even criticize it? Well, for me, yeah, of course I'll criticize it. I mean, like, if they sue me for harassment, then I'm going to live stream the trial, and I'll just, even if they get money out of me, I'll just make the money back with the live stream. It won't matter. It's not going to make a difference. So, like, it doesn't matter. And also, I'm not even Canada. So yeah, it's not even that. So, and also, this is another thing, if you're on the internet, like, what if some guy in fucking Ukraine says this? Like, are you going to extradite some guy from Ukraine and sue them? It's impossible.
Like, I would not even be surprised if this was just massive coke from Ubisoft. What I mean by that is, I wouldn't be surprised if their own employees don't want to post they work at Ubisoft, not because they're afraid of gamers or whatever, that's just sin, but because they simply don't want to post that they work at Ubisoft, because they're embarrassed to work at Ubisoft.
Well, it's if you know, the thing is that I would understand them not wanting to post because they get a lot of negative feedback for being part of this company. I totally understand that. I think that's reasonable. Of course they're not going to want to say that. I think it's the same thing with Blizzard. Like, Blizzard used to be a company you used to be proud of working for, and now if people find out about Blizzard, the first thing they're going to ask about is Brexit. Yeah, of course they don't want to be associated with it. And Ubisoft had its own share of sexual controversies too. So it not only does it have garbage games, but it apparently for a long time was a garbage company too. So yeah, I totally understand.
Of Ubisoft's stance against harassment and all that stuff. Check this out. Interestingly enough, March 10th, just the other day, Deadline have reported former Ubisoft execs go on trial over toxic workplace as union calls for CEO to be tried for complicity.
Yeah.
Previously, the trial of 3 former executives at French Assassin's Creed video game publisher Ubisoft accused of sexual harassment and workplace bullying has begun in Paris. In the backdrop, the Solidarity's Information Union, representing workers in the French video game sector, has announced it is issuing a request for Ubisoft co-founder and CEO Yves Guillemot and longtime HR executive Marie Derain to also stand trial for complicity in the alleged harmful behavior. There is no suggestion either were directly involved in sexual harassment. The trial of the 3 ex-Ubisoft execs is taking place as the beleaguered Paris-based company gears up for the
came out a couple of days ago.
Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th. Much rides on the success of the 14th installment of the hit franchise, with Ubisoft recently reporting a 30% drop in revenue in the first 9 months of its current financial year. The accused men include former Ubisoft Chief Creative Officer Serge Cascoet, probably didn't say that right, who was seconding the company and regarded as co-founder Guillemot's right-hand man for 14 years from 2006. So he's joined with a few other executives as well. And I'm not going to go into like all this trial stuff. I just thought it was rather interesting, as mentioned, that we get the statement from Ubisoft, the Canadian government apparently teaming up and all that. Oh, we're against harassment. Meanwhile, all of this is going on too. Of course, at least.
Yeah, it sounds like they should be more against harassment at their own company. They should focus on that instead of focusing on the internet. I mean, because that's where apparently there's sexual harassment and stuff like that happening at this company. This is a huge issue.
Time of recording this video, I don't believe they've been found guilty or anything like that. It seems to be ongoing, but again, interesting stuff, isn't it? We've also talked in the past about how there's corporations like to try and virtue signal publicly as they deal with their own controversies. So make of all this what you will. Now, I thought it might be fun to...
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think if you're harassing a developer, you're calling their personal phone, you are attacking them on a personal level, you're threatening them. I think this is harassment, and I think you should be held accountable for it. Absolutely. Because, like, you've left the realm of criticism, and now you're attacking them on a personal level. And I'm not saying, like, oh, calling somebody a fat bitch is, like, a problem. But, like, going and, like, doxing or doing anything else crazy like that, calling their personal phone, like, sending the mail, anything like that, that's completely over the line. And no reasonable, civil, tolerant society should have any room for that to exist. Agreed? That's actual harassment? Yeah, exactly.
This video was something rather amusing. That takes us to the subreddit for Assassin's Creed Shadows. They say, number 2 in Japan, we have won, with the exclusive reading best
you won second place, but yeah.
Selling PlayStation 5 games. Number 1, Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows. And number 3, Split Fiction. And we can take a look at the most downvoted comments on that post, and it's hilarious to see what it said. The Assassin's Creed Shadows defenders over on that subreddit. For example, minus 16 downvotes reading, number 1 on that list is 70k, number 5 is 7k, and MGS3 number 10 is at 2k.
Yeah.
We're really celebrating 1k sales 3 days from release. This one with minus 19 downvotes reading, Reddit when a new game is best-selling first week. Remind me what happened with Dragon Age. And minus 20 downvotes reading, my guy, it is a quote-unquote bestseller with only 7,000 sold for PS5 and 1,000 sold for Xbox. Where's your quote-unquote win, bro? Ultimately, the mods for the Assassin's Creed Shadows subreddit would decide to lock the post. So yeah, just thought that was pretty amusing. Hope you guys enjoyed the entire segment, though. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Appreciate you. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.
I think this is a huge thing that a lot of gamers have, and a lot of people do take things too far. And in the case that people do take things too far, I think that they should be held accountable. What's the big news for Assassin's Creed today? Well, the big news is that we're going to play it. I also think that there's a lot of copium with this game. I do not think that its success is good enough to justify the theoretical amount of money that was spent on it. And the other projects that this was meant to make up for.
A lot is going down right now for Ubisoft. I'll start with the obvious thing that you know, that Assassin's Creed Shadows has just had its review embargo lift.
Yep.
But that's not really the main story here, and by the end of this video, we'll even be discussing the very real chance of Ubisoft quite literally splitting. That might sound crazy to you,
I think that they're going to have to do it. I think they're going to have to split the company or do something crazy. Too many L's.
It's actually a well-substantiated thing that we're able to talk about.
Your D&D analogy is perfect.
According to this shareholder letter, Assassin's Creed Shadows should save the company financially. But here's the thing.
See, this is what I was saying. It was like what I said. I'll repeat it. I apologize because like the third day I've used this analogy. So if you've heard it before, I'm sorry. You ever play Dungeons and Dragons and you need to roll a 19 or a 20 in order to just hit a monster? I think that that's what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed Shadows. They needed to roll a 19 or a 20, and they rolled an 11 or a 12. Rolling an 11 or 12 is better than average, and, you know, technically, you did get lucky. But it wasn't enough.
That is not some boastful letter sent to the shareholders from Ubisoft. Oh no, it is an eviscerating letter sent from shareholders to Ubisoft, and they are not happy. It's alleging secret talks, it announces a protest, it threatens...
Yeah, AJ investors are prepared to sue the company for misleading investors. Holy shit. Jesus.
Lawsuits.
That's bad.
And it all cuts through to a very personal angle.
Yeah.
The CEO and founder, Yves Guillemot, has been fending off hostile takeovers for a lot of his recent career, and it's happening to him again, because now he has got shareholders trying to take him out, and that gives anyone who could help him out of his current situation quite a lot of leverage.
I gotta tell you, if you're the CEO and the graph looks like it does, I think you gotta go. I do. Like, I mean, I feel like there has to be accountability for that, right? I mean, you can't lose 80% value of the company and then it's like, oh, well, this is normal.
Huge story to cover today, and the little fun part of it is one of the things that they're trying to weaponize is...
And also another issue is that the products simply were not selling well. It's not a matter of like the stock being overvalued or some sort of market manipulation. The fact is that a lot of their recent games haven't been high quality games. I think that's really important to keep in mind.
You and me. Now here's something that's pretty wild. BT were hacked a few months ago, and that meant that user data, which may include my family, was stolen. And that's why I actually use today's sponsor, Incogni, because they are our way to fight back. That's because when data leaks, data brokers then harvest and then they just sell it on.
Do you remember back in the 90s and the 2000s where it would have a guy hacking a computer and he'd be wearing a mask while he was doing it?
Who? If you ever wonder how spam callers get your number and lots of strange things like that, well, it's
those were the days, right?
This whole terrible system. It sucks,
yeah.
And Incogni solves the problem by automating the legal work that you'd otherwise have to do to get your data taken down. And if you join at incogni.com/BellularNews, you'll get 60% off an annual plan. And here's how it works. It's so easy. You enter your information, and that's basically it.
Wow.
Now, the way it actually works is you've got the legal right to have your data taken down, but doing that takes hours. It's a manual process, and it's not permanent. What Incogni does is it automatically scans all the brokers, it sends takedown requests, and it adds you to suppression lists, so your data is not reharvested.
I don't understand how this even happened, by the way. This is, it's so annoying. Like, this problem should not even exist.
That automatically,
I hate
and then
this.
it constantly rescans so your data is actually kept down. Just take a look at my dashboard for an example. You can see 150 sent requests, 142 completed. I've not touched it since October, but since October, Incogni's removed me from 35 more brokers. That's peace of mind. At incogni.com/BellularNews, you get 60% off an annual plan, so give my link a click today. To kick us off, here's the letter. It's from AJ Investments, who bought a minority share in Ubisoft last year. If you know what a activist investor is, well, they're basically one of those. They jump into a company, they try to do some form of skullduggery to yank up the share price, and then they yeet themselves away with a lovely payday. Now, when their letter says that Shadows can save the company financially, It's not wrong. The finances of Ubisoft do need saving, as do the Guillemets, whose position this letter very much seeks to undermine. So let me lay out the stakes for you so you understand the gravity of today's story. Ubisoft's post-pandemic release schedule just, well, fell off a cliff, right?
Every game they've released basically in the last 5 years has been dog shit. Minus like maybe 2. That's really bad. That's really bad.
And then when they did ship games, quite often they missed on quality and they undersold. Leakers actually report half a dozen cancelled projects, and of course, please the market, Ubisoft launched into all of the fun trends, the NFTs, the AI, all of that. Then, of
Ubisoft recently actually made a new NFT game.
Harassment and abuse,
if you can believe
led
that,
to a purge of senior leadership, and then the year 2024 happened. 2024 was, as we all know, pretty much a shit show for the company. The thing that should have really brought in the sales, Assassin's Creed Shadows, was obviously delayed. They knew that Shadows needed to be of better quality. It seemed that Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora didn't really do that well, and while Prince of Persia lost...
Because it's fucking stupid. It's a stupid fucking game. Why you even think it'd make an Avatar game? Like, who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Who wanted to play this? Nobody wanted to play this fucking bullshit. Like, what's this fairy shit? What the fuck are you doing with this fairy-ass bullshit? Like, why? Who asked? Who wanted this? Nobody asked. Nobody wanted this. What are you thinking?
Persia Lost
Why are you
Crown is a
thinking?
really good video game. It was just too niche and it basically did not move
It was
the needle.
overpriced.
While all this is going on, we've got the investors rebelling, demanding the removal of the founding Guillemot family. But of course, unfortunately for those investors, the Guillemots had spent the last decade making their position, their control over the company, almost unimpeachable for a deal with Tencent. And so, Shadows was delayed, and now we're at the time where it is about to come out. And now it basically means...
I think this game got delayed like 2 or 3 times, too. It wasn't even just once.
If Shadows flops, it's proof that Ubisoft does need to be gutted, and that leadership, say the Guillemots, really are the problem, at least to the investors. If the game succeeds, in a way it'll almost be proof that management should have just made a lot of decisions a lot sooner and basically played their investments with their letter. No matter what happens with Shadows, they'll get to basically say, yeah, we told you so. Now, don't be confused.
Okay. This is not a good graph. It's not. This is a bad graph. This is a very, very, very bad graph. Just because you release one game that does well. As I said, you needed to roll a 19. You rolled an 11. Great. Amazing. Awesome. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't counterbalance everything else that was bad. Buy the dip? Yeah, I guess so.
Investments are not out to make a better game for you. They are parroting very obvious criticisms of Ubisoft, many of which I'd say we could probably agree with.
Sure.
But as an example, they're also pissed off over the delay to Shadows. I think we all know that that delay was a good thing, and as you'll soon find out in this video, they're trying to rile everybody up to generate headlines to put more pressure on the Guillemots, which will, of course, make their position far stronger.
Professional complainers.
They're trying to do the whole rebelling thing.
Absolutely.
We'll get into that, but for now, let's examine the spiciest claims of their letter. Ubisoft have been secretly meeting Microsoft, Electronic Arts, Tencent, and more. That is the claim that is made by the shareholder letter, and it's far from the only bit of pressure that AJ Investments are seeking to mount up here. They actually plan a protest.
So they're playing Assassin's Creed IRL with the company?
They plan a lawsuit against Ubisoft's management as well.
That's
who
a
they
lot.
Say have wrongfully withheld information and hurt shareholders. Now, sparking this was the Assassin's Creed Shadow dual delay and then the financial forecast changes that were caused by that. Suffice to say, revenue projections went down.
Massively.
But then it gets a bit juicy because they say that this depressed stock price would allow the big players to buy up Ubisoft on the cheap. Now, of course, if those were big players who were...
That's true. But, that's what happens whenever the game does badly. I mean, I think that's normal. They were doing research? Yeah, that's totally normal.
With Ubisoft management, that would be great. It would be fulfilling management's personal goals at the expense of the portfolios of smaller shareholders.
Yeah, sure.
Perhaps shareholders like AJ Investments. It's quite spicy. And per the letter, Ubisoft often hid things from their investors.
Why I feel happy about this? I think the people are happy about this is because they view Ubisoft as a representative of everything that's wrong with video games nowadays. slop open world checklist design, daily quests in a single player game, pay to win in a single player game, and it's also like you have to like deluxe editions that are over $100. Like Ubisoft is definitely like, if you can think of the Exodia, right, of bad video game companies, you have the head, sexual harassment allegations. The arm, the right arm, you have microtransactions. The left arm, you have woke video game design. The left leg, you have, let's see, open world time wasting mechanisms. And the right leg, you've got fucking I don't know, did I say microtransactions? I could think of 5 other ones too, but, you know, 1 million NFTs, shitty combat, shops. Yes, by our powers combined, Captain Planet, exactly, yes. So why people don't like this game, I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, why they don't like the company, it makes a lot of sense. And it's also, yeah, you have your own shitty launcher. So people will celebrate the failures of something that represents what they think is bad. That's it. That's the main reason why they're happy. Is it something that they don't like taking an L?
As well.
That's understandable.
As an example, allegedly Ubisoft hit a deal with Ffxiv Games. Ffxiv Games, if you're not aware, are Saudi Arabia's state-funded gaming company. They make a lot of investments.
Here's what I think. I think that they're going to these investors because they're fucking desperate. I think they know they're cooked. And so, yes, you're going to Saudi Arabia, you're going to China, Tencent, because you need somebody to bail you out, because you know that you're fucked. That's the real reason.
So apparently there's a deal with them to make DLC for Assassin's Creed Mirage, but I think a lot more relevant to today, quote, discussions between Microsoft, Electronic Arts, and others that are interested in acquiring IPs from Ubisoft. And if true, that is a perfect wedge issue for AJ Investments.
Yeah.
And I note this letter says that they will hold a protest in Paris this May, and that if things don't improve, they'll actually sue.
Wow.
And look, when you examine all of this, it's hard to not see a lot of it as just the final nail in the coffin for Ubisoft. They've had nothing but bad news. You know, even their own shareholders are turning against them. But it's not all of their shareholders. It's a group of them. A group that is led by AJ Investments. And it's not hard to see.
Just because you have some investment activist group complaining, that doesn't really fucking matter. What really matters is the quality of the games and how many people are buying them. That's the bottom line. That's the lifeblood of your business. And if that's not happening, you're fucked. That's it. That is the beginning and the end of this conversation. Hey, Saudi Arabia, want to cash us out after almost going bankrupt for being woke? Yeah, that's basically what they're saying. And you know what? If I was Saudi Arabia, I would say, yes, please, let us cash you out. We'll make the new Assassin's Creed. We can set it in, you know, like Middle Ages and like, you know, medieval ages like Arabia. And the game is going to have a, you know, dark, edgy male protagonist. And it's going to sell 10 million fucking copies. Prince of Persia, yeah. Yeah, wow, where was that? Is that, geez, I forgot. Yeah, so you just go right back to what you were doing, and you do it again. Yeah, that's the first game. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so of course they're going to be down for that. You're describing the first game? I know that. That's my whole point. Do it again. People buy Call of Duty every year. They'd buy this too.
Actually doing here. And that's really because they've played their cards like openly for everyone to see. It's bloody obvious. And, well, they're not the sort that we should trust, even if sometimes they'll say words that we agree with. Let me explain why. Reading AJ's letter, the one thing that will strike you is that it's dramatic, right? Ubisoft are keeping secrets. Shareholders are going to protest. Lawsuits are coming. That is all emotive, spicy stuff. And it is spicy. It's kind of fun to talk about. But here's the thing with that. We've been watching this story since it began, and it began last year.
Yeah.
What this letter is, because if you only see a little fragment here or there, you won't have a real full picture of the story. What this is just another play in a war game that had been going on for a while. The first letter actually came last year from AJ Investments.
I watched this whenever, I remember covering this when it happened.
And this open letter blamed Ubisoft management for everything wrong with the company. And in fairness, a hell of a lot of blame does rest with them. But why was this new open letter released to IGN first? That's no slight, of course, to IGN's news department.
All they're doing is they're trying to position themselves in a way that will pressure the company publicly in order to change what they're doing and change their leadership so they can probably get more stock and control of the company. That's the reason why. It's obvious. Now, sometimes you can be doing that for a good reason, but that's exactly what's being done.
But the whole letter, I mean, it's a shareholder letter. It's corporate talk. Why are you giving that to the world's most read gaming site for gamers instead of, say, the trade press?
They want me to react to it. That's the reason why. They just want they want an Asmongold react video, obviously.
I mean, if the intent is to actually get shareholders and investors to protest with them, that does seem kind of counterintuitive. You would not go to IGN if that was your goal. What you would go to IGN for is to get public eyeballs on the situation.
Yep.
Eyeballs that are, of course, part of gaming
Makes
brains
sense.
who generally are pretty, frustrated with Ubisoft, but not really people who will be thinking about who AJ Investments are, who might think, oh, look at that, even the shareholders are turning against them. Damn, those shareholders are our bros. Oh, no. Look, the headlines maybe just get to laugh at Ubisoft. It gets the headlines trending. Here's the thing. Investment firms generally don't care, too much about the detail of why gamers are mad. They just want to harness you and further their own game. And their game is...
I think that's fine, by the way. I don't need you to care about my feelings. Just make a good game, and that's it. We don't need to be best friends. We don't need to be in a relationship. We just need to... all I want is for them to make the game good. That's it. Just make good games. Use them and we use them and they use us. And this is a perfectly great relationship. Let's not rock the boat.
Fairly obvious.
That's right.
It's to put more and more pressure on Ubisoft. So if news sparks because of their open letter sent to IGN, which it absolutely has, then that does further their pressure on Ubisoft to capitulate to their demands. They don't actually need to do a protest or a lawsuit to accomplish that. They just need to harness public relations against Ubisoft.
That's right.
Now, what about the meat of their letter, right? That Ubisoft are meeting other companies. That's
a lot.
Secret and spooky stuff. Well, it is newsworthy, right? Yeah, okay, them talking to these companies like EA, that is newsworthy. But it's also exactly what Ubisoft promised they would do. Which was to, again, quote Ubisoft's own words.
Smart. That's what they should be doing,
quote,
obviously, right?
Transformation, strategic and capitalistic options. And to kind of cut through business speak, that basically just means layoffs, closures, and possible sale options. And so far, we've seen layoffs. And
I think they might have to sell off some of their IPs or split the company or do something really big. Because I just can't see how you can have such a big company lose 80% of your value and then release kind of a mid-game or like slightly above mid-game, and then suddenly now everybody's supposed to be okay with it. I just don't see that happen, man. Yeah, I just don't. They have 13,000 employees. Well, the problem, and I think this is also another big issue that Ubisoft has had, is that they've tried to release too many games. It's like, stop doing that. You're making too many games. You can't release a new AAA game every single year and maintain a high level of quality. Says you? Yes, exactly, says me. Yes, yes, there's too many mid games. It is better to focus entirely on making one really, really good game than make a bunch of different games, diminish the brand value, and then hope that one of them pops off through some sort of like viral, internet marketing campaign. It's just not what's going to happen. Yeah, it's like you can't just, well, if we sell one game and we get $10, we can sell 5 games and we get $50, and we sell 10 games and we get $100. Oh my God, let's make 20 games, we'll make $200. You can't do that. Like, you're going to hit market saturation at a certain point. And I think that they have, and it's also the amount of bandwidth that the leadership has. Because fundamentally, leadership is now being spread across so many different things. You can't do that. Like, it's not how things work.
closures that
They're set up to
looking into
fail.
possible sale options is, well, not really surprising because they literally said they would do that. And when you actually read Ubisoft's statement, they say that when there is a transaction, the market will be told. And you may then think, why would you be secret about that? Why would you not announce talks? Well,
Insider
if talks
trading.
fail or a deal falls through, that can really hurt you as a company.
Exactly.
Just ask the Embracer Group.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about this before it's settled, because if they do, then you're going to have a lot of market speculation one way or another. And it could make the company look bad if it doesn't happen, or it could make the company look bad if it does happen. So they want to save that until it's actually a defined entity. I think that makes perfect sense.
Well, that went for them. So, given the risk, why would investors want Ubisoft to talk? Specifically, these investors, AJ Investments. That's pretty obvious. Rumors of a deal will shoot the price up. This quite literally, for short-term investors, that is the business model. And you don't need to take it from me. We can just read AJ's own website. Quote, AJ Investments take advantage of events and take such steps that will help correct and optimize the running of companies. Basically, they capitalize on a problem. They force any solution that raises a short-term stock price, and then they profit.
Yeah, of
They
course.
so much care about the long term when they say save the company. As an example, they only started their position in Ubisoft a few weeks before they published their first open letter. Prior to that, they're actually long-term shareholders of Activision Blizzard.
It does seem like it's very obvious, advantageous. Like, I mean, they're not necessarily good actors, but at the same time, you can agree with people that are bad actors, but you can still acknowledge, yeah, they are bad actors too.
Which obviously worked out fairly well for them in the end. But in this case, right, their letter, their pressure did kind of work. Ubisoft's studio closures and layoffs in the last few months happened at least in part because of that pressure. And now the stock price is rising, but not just because of this letter. In fact, it's because Ubisoft might actually be close to a deal. What if I told you we might actually have Ubisoft 2? I'm not shitting you.
I think that it's going to happen. I do. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Just too many L's. The best thing that Ubisoft could do is take half of the company. Okay, let me think about how this would work. So, what are the big Ubisoft IPs? Give me like the top 3 biggest Ubisoft IPs. Okay, Assassin's Creed. Okay. Sell Assassin's Creed to either Saudi Arabia or to China. Sell Prince of Persia to Saudi Arabia. Sell Far Cry to probably also China. Sell Splinter Cell to, I don't know, probably also China. Rainbow Six Siege, sell that to China. Okay, a lot of these would go to China. Persia's not in Arabia. I know, but it's the same type of vibe, right? Like, I mean, I think, I'm not saying it's the exact same thing. My point is that I think they could make a really good fucking version of it. It'd be good. That's it.
A new company created by Ubisoft that will include, quote, some of Ubisoft's IP, like Assassin's Creed. That is apparently something that could actually exist.
Yeah.
That is looking for minority investors.
That's what they need to do.
This is according to Bloomberg's reporting. What it would essentially be is a lifeboat to save the company and maybe save management as well. Now, apparently offers are being made to Tencent as well as various investment funds, and preliminary bidding is actually being sought this very month. Now, obviously, right, this is all stuff that's not settled yet.
Maybe
It
I
is
should
open
bid for
to
the
change,
company.
But it does in fact align with Bloomberg's previous reporting.
Yeah.
Bloomberg back in January claimed that Tencent and Ubisoft were in talks to
Be a great
establish,
idea.
quote, a new venture
Save
where
it,
the
yeah.
Gilmos would be backed by Tencent. Of course, the Gilmos are already backed by Tencent. A whole bunch of the Gilmos' control over Ubisoft is actually via a company that's called, like, I think it's Gilmo Brothers Limited or whatever, where basically the Gilmo Brothers company is like a joint venture or whatever with Tencent.
It's crazy how many roach things that people do in, like, business in order to, like, obfuscate who owns what. Like, and it becomes immediately evident that the reason why this is because the people that are inventing these roach solutions are the ones that are paying the government to add in little holes so the roaches can go in and out of the holes. That's it. I hate that. Yes. It's a roach economy. Zero accountability. I don't know about zero accountability, but it's just harder to see what is what.
So suffice to say, the boys at Tencent have got decent leverage.
As much shown the company. I mean, if you want me to be totally honest, I do not want to deal in video game development. I don't want to manage video games at all. I would manage, like, I'm not passionate about making video games. I am passionate about maybe media, but not making. I just not. Like, it's just not something, like, it's weird, right? Because I play video games. I've always played video games my whole life. I'm one of those weird people, maybe, that I never thought, oh, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to make video games. I always wanted to grow up and just collect money from the government and play video games. Mission accomplished, by the way. But other than that, yeah, that was it. That's not weird. Yeah, it's insanely difficult to make video games. Yeah, but it's insanely difficult to do a lot of things, and kids still want to do that. Yeah, that was it.
For the Gilmos, I think it's fair to say. Anyway, what's maybe more curious here is that Bloomberg are reporting that Ubisoft may, and this is a quote, seek evaluation for the yet-to-be-formed IP unit that is higher than the size of the main companies.
Man.
So let that sink in. A unit of Ubisoft being worth more than Ubisoft. How can that make sense? Well, honestly, it's actually extremely simple. Efficiency. If you take one unit of Ubisoft and take it away...
That's true. I mean, apparently they have 13,000 employees. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like if you have a game and the credits for this game are 2 hours long. Dare I say it? You might have a little bit too many people working on the game. Maybe it's just a little bit too much.
But then you look...
You know, it's a little bit bloated. Yeah, just ooh. Like, wow. Like, and keep in mind, the Concord credits were like an hour or an hour and a half. And everybody was joking about that, about how bad it was. Ubisoft said, hold up, I can do that better. And they did.
Ubisoft, and you sort of see
2 hour credits.
Lots of bits of Ubisoft are actually of a negative value. Well, yeah, of course, it actually makes a lot of sense that this sniped away thing, this scalpeled away thing, will actually...
This looks like... This is like the Chinese or like the third world version of Valorant that, like, you buy guns with real money that do more damage. Like, and it's only on mobile. And it's called, like, Firefight Warriors. Really, like this looks awful.
Actually have a higher valuation. Right
Pay for bullet, yeah.
Belief is that Ubisoft
Just
is
shooters,
not
yeah.
in developer headcount, but actually in intellectual property. A bit of a smaller, more focused company that only cares about a few IPs is likely going to be seen as a better investment. And honestly, I think it's pretty obvious why when you take a look at the games industry. So
yeah,
if this is to happen, and there is...
Yeah, the IPs have a lot of intrinsic value, but the company structure clearly does not. Like, I've said this before, that, like, my dream is that Nintendo will have From Software make a Legend of Zelda game. Like, I'm not, like, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, it's like, oh, this is nice, I guess. But I want Twilight Princess, I want Ocarina of Time, I want Majora's Mask, I want Link to the Past. I want that, plus Elden Ring. That's what I want. Would be peak? Yeah. And so the IP has a lot of value. Have you played them? No, I haven't. I'm talking about the style.
You know, good reporting from Bloomberg that it is something that's being investigated. How would it happen? Yeah. Well, broadly, there's two ways that could go down. Number one, the new company would just hold the IP with really no developers. So it would control the IP for minimal cost. Yeah. It would then license that IP back to the original Ubisoft entity, which would then be doing the development. The new IP holding entity would have lower fixed costs, less risk, and its investors would have more control, which gives them a real good incentive to buy in. It's basically saying, hey, do you want a slice of Assassin's Creed and The Crew and, you know, all these big good things, and not any of that other junk? That could be pretty good for...
It's actually crazy that they're doing this. That they're basically saying, like, we give up on making the games. We're just going to own the IPs and register and run the IPs instead. Like, this is basically admitting defeat.
For them. There is, of course, another way. You just do a split in terms of development and intellectual property.
Yeah.
You could perhaps imagine one side taking the smaller yet beloved properties like Rayman, Trackmania, and Anno.
Somebody says the problem is when the layoffs hit, they're laying off seniors and good people. When Ubisoft layoffs happen, the people who ruined Assassin's Creed will stay at the company. You bring up a really great point, and I think what you're saying is true. And that's why I always say, like, if you really want to see change happen, look at C-suite accountability. If you do that, things change instantaneously. We should not fire any people ever. I don't think that's what he's saying. I just think that he's saying that it's disappointing that in a case where the reality is in a lot of these like these companies, like, yeah, you're gonna have bad people all the way down for sure, but like really the heads that should roll are the decision makers. That's why they get paid a bunch of money. They get paid like millions of dollars in stock options because of that accountability.
One side taking the smaller yet beloved properties like Rayman, Trackmania, and Anno, and maybe the other side taking the big AAAs, your Rainbows, Assassin's Creed, The Crew, all that stuff. The point is,
like,
basically,
I don't want to make it like political, right? But it's like you saw this with Joe Biden. It's like how many border crossings were last year versus this year in February? It was 1. It was like 35,000. It changed to 1. At the end of the day, leadership does matter. And having leadership that puts a priority on certain things, that will change the direction of the company. It absolutely will. And I think that leadership bears the most responsibility and also the fault. That's it. It's all the difference. Yes. All the difference. It was like 70K plus? Yeah. Imagine being that one guy, unstoppable. He got away.
In theory, both sides of the business could here be more efficient and be more focused.
Yeah.
Now, there is a problem that efficiency is a fine idea on paper, and the other side of this is, yes, there are all of these rational arguments, but you could perhaps also say this would work per the goals of the Guillemot family, who would be using something like this to basically retain control of Ubisoft and solve their current predicament.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you're licensing out the IP. You fire like 90% of the employees, and all you're doing is running a skeleton operation where you're just basically selling the thing that you already had to people to do it better than you can. I mean, I feel like if I were them, that's a huge W for me. Yeah, that's a massive fucking W.
Of course, the problem there, the thing with efficiency, is that it's fine on paper, not necessarily reality. Here's the rub for today. Assassin's Creed saving the company does not mean better games for you, okay? How many games does Ubisoft make that are more efficient for investors on release than just putting your money in the stock market, right? Like in the S&P 500.
Yeah.
Well, the answer basically is most of Ubisoft games aren't really worth it.
Well, Ubisoft games are really good if you want to take $100 and turn it into $20. If you have $100 and you want to turn that into $10, maybe $20, Ubisoft is a really good place for you to start. But, you know, for people that want to make money, probably not.
So just throwing your money in the stock market.
Does the game cost $80?
Worth it.
Yeah,
Rainbow
that's
Six
the reason.
Siege is worth it. Brawlhalla is worth it. Some of their other sort of live servicey sleeper hits are probably worth it as well. But just about everything else, those are risks. They're taking up resources.
Well, it's also like these other games like Brawlhalla and these are very small games. It's nice to have a good game that has a small audience that's well designed and people enjoy it. But the problem is that isn't necessarily going to justify 13,000 employees. The fact is that if you have a company of over 10,000 people and you make video games, you need to be making the Lord of the Rings of video games. That's it.
Be going to making far
and if you're not, you're done.
Guaranteed profitable games.
Blizzard used to do
it.
It's
so efficient for Ubisoft to produce Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, right? Under pure market theory, that game was a bad investment. It was a waste of time. None of this is about the quality of the games that are being made. AJ Investments may say...
Well, it's about... The thing is that I agree half with what Failure is saying and not with the other half, is that the quality of the game, I think, also has to deal with the delivery method of the game. Like, for example, taking the character and then giving him that, like, you know, super generic Killmonger haircut, and then making the narrative of the story that's just, like, kind of paneling and it's not actually animations, and also selling it at such a high price in a Metroidvania genre where the average price is $20. You went into a market, you didn't advertise the game very well, you're selling it way above market cost, and you're making it in a way that's not really resonating with the audience. You're fucking up. Like, that's really just, it's a marketing department L, right? Whoever decided the production and distribution for this game should be fucking fired, because they totally messed it up. The game was fine, but if you design it this way and you make a game this way, you need to have and you need to fit inside of the market expectations, and that's not what they did. Fucking up on, like, multiple points, exactly. And so you see a lot of games, like, I think Assassin's Creed Shadows is kind of the same thing, is that if they had never used this, like, argument to authority of, like, Yasuke, he's real, he's a real samurai, racist, like, if they never used that type of messaging, I'm not saying they said that directly, but they clearly implied it, and they clearly went in that direction. If they had never done that, they would have never had this problem. It would have never happened. And so the problem is that at the very highest level, decisions are being made that are stupid. Stupid decisions are being made, and because of that, the games suffer. That's what it comes down to. That's what really matters. And like, if I look at, like, Assassin's Creed, for example, the combat is very one-dimensional. It's bad. But, like, everything in the game generally works. It looks good, etc., right? What that tells me is that the people that are working on the game at a baseline, those people know what they're doing, and they're good at their job to an extent, right? At least to enough extent, because they're following directions. But the people that are deciding the big picture ideas for the game, they're the ones that are totally wrong. They're the ones that are making bad decisions constantly. And that's the big problem. I wouldn't call it bad, it's just mid. Yeah, the combat, I would say for an action combat game, I think it's below mid. But, I mean, that's my opinion. Combat department needs to be changed. Yeah, but, like, what I'm saying is that, like, I think that a lot of Ubisoft's, and I'll give you the best example and the best frame of reference for this, then I want to continue the video. It's almost over. Is that the guy, the CEO of the company, was, like, confused the reason why his video games aren't selling very well, but they review so well. Well, why are these games reviewing so well, but they're not selling well? Well, it's because they're not reviewing well. You're listening to a handful of retards that are, you know, journalists about these video games, and not your actual customers. I think that, just by itself, is the biggest self-report you can possibly have. How do you self-report that hard? That you're focusing off of that.
They want that.
Rotten
They may
Tomatoes
say
problem?
that and try to harness your anger
maybe.
to put on more pressure. But at the end of the day, we know that they were pissed about the delays to Assassin's Creed Shadows. And whether you want that game to succeed or not, game companies delaying their game so that they can have more polished releases is almost universally a good thing for the customer.
It is.
So if Ubisoft are forced to sell off half their intellectual property to the highest bidder while throwing pink slips at thousands of developers and doing all of these short-term things and, pursuing getting that stock price up ASAP, but not necessarily at long-term value, long-term quality, will that be good for the games? I would not necessarily think so, especially since this is the type of the investor who is anti-delay, even though the likes of Star Wars Outlaws clearly tell us those delays are
I'm gonna be honest. It can't get worse. Fuck it, send it to China. Maybe they can do something right with it. They didn't fuck up Wukong. Seems like they're not fucking up a number of other games. Like, fuck. I mean, you might as well. It can get worse? Not really, though, right?
Needed. And so regardless of how well Assassin's Creed Shadows sells, expect them to do more things, to drum out more headlines, to try and get a bit more leverage, a bit more control, and turn that pressure into something that they can profit off. Meanwhile, though, on the Guillemot front, well, they might be trying to restructure Ubisoft, doing something with Tencent and potential other suitors to get around this problem. Will that be good for the actual games? I don't necessarily think so.
I think that anything that involves a leadership change will be a net positive. If you want to use another D&D analogy, I think that their leadership is a 5. By the way, this is not a 6-sided dice. It's a 20-sided dice, D&D dice. Do you re-roll a 5? Yeah, you do. You re-roll a 5. I think that, yeah, they should re-roll it.
So, at least it basically means, who knows if Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be some amazing banger or terrible failure, whatever it is. At least what I can say, with a good degree of surety, is that it does make for a pretty damn good episode of corporate drama. We can at least enjoy that. Okay, I'll see you when there's a new update to this story.
I think this is so funny.
Once we know how the game launch is actually shaken out. Till then, though, do you want more drama? Corporate drama? Well,
I'll link it to you guys. This is a good video from Belluor. I pretty much agree with everything that he said, except for like maybe a couple of things. I think that Ubisoft, here's what's really fucked up. The gameplay in a lot of these Ubisoft games, aside from like the stealth gameplay, like the Prince of Persia combat on a fundamental level, like the Lost Crown, and the Assassin's Creed combat feels relatively good. Like, it's not bad combat. But the big problem is that the leadership and the way that the games are delivered and the way they're marketed and, like, big picture design decisions are bad. And when you think about that, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, like, if I'm just a grunt and, like, my job is to just program things to look good and to feel good to play, I'm doing my job. And I think it sucks that if they do this restructuring, that all of those people that do good work, all of those people are going to probably be let go. Or at least the majority of them. Yeah, it sucks. Combat's way too rigid. I mean, I think it's okay, right? It's not amazing, but, like, it's okay. Yeah, once you get got, you realize how bad once you get, as soon as I play Ghost of Tsushima, yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. I mean, that's the thing. There's a very good chance that if I play the game and, like, I see these other games are, like, way fucking better, then, you know, sure, that maybe could happen. But I do think that in a general sense, the big problem of what happened is that I think a lot of Western game studios have totally lost their focus and they don't understand at all about, like, what should or shouldn't happen in the game anymore, and what should or shouldn't be in the game anymore at all. And I think that's really the big weakness that a lot of these development studios have, is that they don't have a focus in a way that is meaningful and that matters. Western games are just DEI instead of a good game. Yeah, I unironically, like, and I know this might get me in trouble, but I unironically think that the over-fixation on DEI representation, and I think hiring based off of that too, because, like, here's the way I see it. Like, I view diversity as something that usually naturally occurs whenever you engage in an international market. Like, you know, or a widespread market. Like, if you have a company that's only in Japan, you're going to have only really Japanese people that are going to play that game, right? Or work at that company. But if you're talking about, like, an international thing, and think about it with streaming, right? For example, like, if you pull up, like, let me go back, I'll pull up Twitch tracker. So let's just we'll look at channels here. So Kai, all of these people, me, Queso, Kadril, like, Loud Karinga, Jinxie, Hassan, like this, I think he's this Japanese guy. If you look at all these people, there is a tremendous amount of diversity here. It is completely multicultural. It is multiracial. It is all guys. But other than that, it's all different people, right? And that's the thing. And so my point is, no women? Well, yeah, because it's a male-dominated platform. Like, that's really the reason why. And so if you look at this, like, there's tons of different people, tons of different races of people. So I look at diversity as something that if you provide an even playing field, diversity will happen naturally. But when you're hiring based off of diversity and you're hiring based off of diversity-based goals, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up hiring people that are not the best fit. Because that's the reason, like, if this was happening naturally and you were hiring people that were the best fit, you wouldn't need these goals in the first place in order to keep things on these rails. So the only reason why you have these goals is so you can artificially add these people into the ecosystem, while at the same time not taking a person that you would have naturally taken that would have been maybe a better fit for the company, maybe a better employee or something like that. And so merit needs to be the only focus that you have. And I think that when you have a merit-based, and this is the point that I was making, is when you have a merit-based system like Twitch, nobody gets a career given to them on Twitch. People decide, like there are people that get hosted every single day and they don't get any viewers, etc. You have a massively diverse group of people whenever you open things up to anybody can do this. And if you look at, for example, like the guys that work at X, like at Twitter, you're going to see the exact same thing. It's subjective? No, it's not. I think the truth is that it's the same with the Olympics. Like you see people all over around in the world that are successful in the Olympics. Like I am not a diversity disliker. I am a forced diversity disliker because I think that it's counterproductive. I think diversity happens naturally. Like if you just look at, and again, you just look at like pictures of me and like videos of me whenever I was in high school or like, you know, I don't know, I have a few from middle school, right? Like or college, you'll see that like I have tons of friends that are of all different nationalities, all different races, religions, everything, right? Because it's just normal. Like growing up online, that was the default. That was what was normal. And like having a racially homogenous group is what wasn't. And so easy public school, exactly. What happens if it's just a normal black woman, though? Then it's called randomly DEI for no reason? Well, that's stupid. Like, so what? Like, I mean, do I have to play defense for somebody who I don't even agree with? I don't think that's true. I think that's dumb. So, yeah, it's like, yes, obviously, and just real quick, I do agree with you that the amount of calls for everything is DEI nowadays, it is exhausting. I think that you're right. But the truth is that that is a very, very small group of annoying people. And the fact is also, like, I'll say this as well, a lot of the guys that are doing that are joking around. They are. They're joking around. Like, most of the people in my chat are like, oh, yeah, you know, it's like, okay, it's a black person, DEI, or a girl, it's DEI. It's a joke. Now, I'm not saying that it's a great joke, or it's, you know, this is the pinnacle of comedy or anything. But they're not doing it in a serious manner. At least a lot of them aren't. Now, some of them definitely are, though. That being said, the point that I was trying to get at here is that I think that when you have Western game studios, and this is especially true with American game studios, because European game studios somehow are less affected by this rot. You have American game studios, particularly American game studios, that have a hyper-fixation around creating video games that act as a metaphor or a reinforcement mechanism of their worldview. This is a very reductive way to make a video game. And it's also something that a lot of people don't agree with. And the problem isn't even that they're doing it. The problem is that they're doing it and nobody agrees with what they're doing. The fact is that a lot of these ideologies are not very popular. They're not. They're not that great. And it's not that popular to hear about, like, you know, the non-binary thing with what was it, Dragon Age the Veilguard. That is simply not a well-understood thing that average people can relate to. And that's the point that I think a lot of people don't understand. Reactive Asmon being reacted to. Why people actually hate Asmongold. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. It's actually a really good video? Okay, all right.
I find it quite strange how a lot of people on the internet just jump to conclusions without any hint of evidence. It's sad.
Stupid. Mystery solved.
See how critical thinking seems almost endangered among the chronically online. A lot of people just follow trends of hatred without actually taking the time to find evidence to back up their accusations. Just because a lot of people are saying something doesn't make it true. We've seen this happen with a lot of public figures, especially in recent years. A good example would be J.K. Rowling. I'm convinced the majority of people who hate her do so simply because others do, because it's become a popular trend. I remember watching a video on critical thinking by a teacher, Warren Smith. In this video, Warren challenges a student of his to actually think for themselves on this exact topic. All he did was encourage his students to broaden his perspective and look into the situation himself. using rationality and critical thinking.
So let's get specific though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first, let's start with, does she?
This is the way most people start at the conclusion and they work backwards. That's the way that most people think, unfortunately.
Bigoted opinions. So when you say bigoted opinions,
She has.
So I guess now that we're looking at
2
it,
minutes
like,
later.
there's not much difference between me or her. Do you think it's fair that she's being attacked by a large group of people? And
Yeah,
people are
is that
calling,
fair?
Like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about
Yep.
Harry Potter?
They start
Now,
with the conclusion.
Retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
Warren Smith then apparently got
Well, no,
fired.
that makes that kid smarter than 90% of people on the internet. 90% of people on the internet would have never said that. But at the end of that, they would have said, "Oh, bro, you really a transphobe, though. Like, oh, bro, this guy sucks." Yeah, no, actually based. Yeah, based kid. Because not everybody's going to know everything.
From his teaching job for encouraging critical thinking.
So it happened yesterday. I was fired from my full-time teaching position.
Yeah.
This decline in critical thinking is one of the many reasons I believe a lot of people dislike Asmongold. In certain online
People don't like critical thinking because critical thinking breaks down narratives, and a lot of people that are in charge of internet communities have more of a allegiance to a narrative than they do to the community or to truth. And so anybody, like, you think about it like this, right? If you apply critical thinking, you come to conclusions that are inconvenient. Like, for example, I think that trans sports are like one example of that. Or you could look at it with climate change, I would say. Or you could look at it with other types of like human rights. And if you apply critical thinking to these topics and you evaluate them logically, you come to conclusions that are oftentimes oppositional to what side, quote, that you're on. And people don't want to be on the wrong side, because one thing we've learned about the internet is that if you're wrong by 1%, you might as well just be the opposite.
Spaces, especially among specific communities, there's a lot of
Do you think
hate.
critical thinking has declined? I think that critical thinking has not only has critical thinking declined, I think people have trained themselves for critical thinking to decline. Because people that make mistakes and they critically think for themselves, instead of just repeating what they've already heard and what they're supposed to say, those people get ostracized and they get kicked out of their community. So I think it's even farther than that. I think that people actively try to avoid critical thinking. They're afraid of critical thinking because that could put them in an opposition with people that they're on the same side with.
Towards him that is unwarranted and simply
A lot
built
of people
on
get
lies.
mad about
The more I looked into this, the weirder this echo chamber became.
Asmongold is just like someone who makes a living off stealing from other people.
Like, you're a racist motherfucker. Asmongold is a fascist. He's just like actually one of the purest examples of the moderate wing of fascism thing. Also,
Yes.
Asmongold's editor is a Nazi.
So Adolf Jr.
My editor is a Nazi. I guess we're not seeing his point of view. That's too bad. Wow.
You're over here. This is the fake laugh he does, and I don't respect him at all. I don't know, maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they really buy this and think it's funny.
He's racist.
Why people hate Asmongold. Okay. And to be fair, I talked to Poke a little bit privately. It seems like we might be able to work things out. So no hate to Poke.
In my research for this video, I genuinely tried to find actual substantial reasons for the hate outside of the lies. I'm an advocate of trying to see both sides' perspectives on any topic.
Jesus, bro, people.
I found quite a few videos on YouTube that I'd like to unpack and try to understand why there is so much hate against Asmongold. First off, by what I've seen, a lot of the hate against Asmongold seems to have stemmed from other YouTubers' disdain for React content. In my
what I found to be really funny about people getting mad about React content is that this has totally done a U-turn. Is that now people are not mad that I'm reacting, they're mad that I aren't reacting. Sorry, that I'm not reacting. Like, there'll be a video that comes out and they'll be mad at me because I haven't watched it. And they saw that, and this happened with like the Elon Musk thing with Quinn's video. It happened with, I remember there was some Bernie Sanders video people wanted me to watch. And then it also happened with the Hassan content nuke from Ethan. And so now the entire narrative has shifted from no longer am I this parasite, but I'm now I'm the ring giver. I'm the person that they want me to react to the video because that legitimizes it. So I think we've totally turned this around.
Researcher stumbled across a video titled Asmongold is Bad, Why I Don't Like Asmongold Videos by a channel called Savior 3.0.
In this video that he's reacting to my video, he's gonna talk about how reactions are bad. Okay.
Video we hear the usual rant about React content having a negative impact on other channels and YouTube as a platform.
He gets the benefit from all of this unpaid labor. He gets the benefit from all of this hard work from other content creators, but he doesn't actually have to do any of the heavy lifting.
This YouTuber then played an excerpt from a large and actually pretty popular channel called Dark Viper AU,
oh, we know
where
Dark
he
Viper.
spoke in depth about why React content is bad for channels and the platform as a whole, using Asmongold as the primary example.
This guy's been mad about me for like, I think 4 or 5 years now. It's been crazy how long this guy's been mad.
Over the last few months, I've learned that very few people seem to understand why React content is harmful. React content is a system of exploitation that siphons an incalculable amount of money and exposure away from the hard-working into the pockets of the incredibly lazy.
Dark Viper had some decent points and clearly did a lot of research into this, but somehow in this whole video he missed what I believe is the most important aspect of React content. I'll actually read a comment that I found while watching this video because I think it best describes the problem with this argument. I don't agree with the idea that reaction content is stealing. When watching someone like Asmongold, it's not about the original video content itself, but rather about his personal take and commentary. People watch him because they want to hear his thoughts, see his reactions, and experience his unique perspective. His popularity is built on his personality and how he engages with the content, not just the content itself. Even if he simply talked about the videos without showing them, his audience will still tune in because they're following him and his reactions, not just the video being reacted to. Reaction content requires charisma, personal insight, and the ability to entertain, which is what draws viewers in. This is nearly a perfect comment.
Well, that's why a lot of people watch the videos that I do, right? I mean, there are people that, like, you know, there are people who react, and, like, I remember, you know who really fucking pissed me off about this was Emmy. Oh my fucking god. So, she was gonna watch my video about the steak, and she was watching it with Bonnie. And the entire video, they're not even reacting or talking about the video that I'm doing at all. They just have the video on while they're talking about some other random fucking bullshit. I was losing my mind getting mad about this. I was, yeah, they didn't even react the right way.
In the context of Asmongold, but the only thing that is disputable is that not all React content is actually done in good faith.
No.
Some of it is blatant stealing. The Actman has a fantastic video titled The Dark Side of React Content that I completely recommend on this subject. In fact, in his video, he even mentions how Asmongold reacting to one of his videos, yes, affected its viewership negatively, but how he spoke to Asmongold and Asmon agreed to watch his videos a few days after release in the future.
What I realized is that if you're a big creator who's going to react to someone's video, you should wait at least 4 days for it to be pushed in the algorithm naturally. And that's what Asmon and I talked about and agreed on.
Yeah, he and I, we're totally good. Like, I like the Act Man a lot. We've talked about that, a number of other things too, in DMs, no problems.
this happened.
The Actman then went on to
100%.
talk about the positive impact reactors like Asmongold have had on his channel.
Some might say, but Actman, he's stealing views from you. Those views belong to you. Maybe they do. I can't say for certain, but what I can say is a lot of people who are subscribed to my channel wouldn't be subscribed if Asmongold never made these videos.
Although I agree with
There's positives and negatives. I think that's the truth, is with React content, there are positives and negatives. Each case is going to be a little bit different. I personally think that if you make the argument with React content, I actually, and this is going to be maybe controversial, I don't think that you can't make that argument towards video games. Because I think that watching somebody play a video game can, because the argument with React content is fundamentally that React content exists inside of the ecosystem and then therefore cannibalizes views away from the original content. And it effectively acts as a market replacement. I think that a lot of people watch video game playthroughs instead of buying a video game themselves. And I think if somebody does that, you also have an instance where a person who is performing much less labor and much less work is getting a disproportionate benefit from somebody else's labor and work that in some cases causes a market replacement for purchasing said work. So I think that if you look at it from that perspective, reacting to a video is not that much different than reacting to playing a video game. Help sales? Yeah, but you can say it helps sales, but at the same time, not always, right? Not always. And that's the point. I think it's kind of different. I don't think it's different personally.
Of Dark Viper AU's video, there's something he says here at 15 minutes and 5 seconds that I completely disagree with.
I hope by the end of this video that you will come to understand why this exposure and money would either entirely or almost entirely have gone to other content creators if not for Asmongold's interference. Not just the people that Asmongold steals labor from, but everyone in the wider market.
You could easily say the same thing about every single channel on YouTube, including Dark Viper AU. Dark Viper has 1.5 billion views that could have otherwise gone somewhere else if he didn't have his channel.
Bottom line, a React video has the same value proposition as going to a movie with a friend. Seeing and discussing a movie with a friend can be more enjoyable than seeing it alone, but you would never say that the friend who took you to the movie should get a cut of the movie's proceeds for sitting in the chair and giving you his opinion on it.
This, for me, is a gross oversimplification of what is really...
If you look at a movie critic would be a better example. And also, like, with a lot of movie critics and people like that, they do have Substack and they do have ads on the places where they review the movies. So, like, in the case, if you want to have, like, a more specific example, I think that's not really the case.
Happening. I would say that React content is more likened to movie commentary. People...
Completely agree. Completely fucking agree. So true.
Choose to watch Asmongold or other React creators simply because they are entertaining. Dark Viper AU's video, while incredibly well made, also lacks a very basic understanding. People prefer to watch React content over original videos.
Some people do. Some people don't. Like, for a lot of people, like, that was actually one of the reasons, too, why there's a lot of videos that I don't really react to them right away, because I don't want to accidentally cannibalize views, because I know how the YouTube algorithm works very well. And that was one of the other, like, kind of secondary or tertiary reasons why I didn't react to Ethan's video right away.
Every single view is a real person.
But it does depend on the video. It really depends on the video. And also, like, if I have a relationship with that person, like I was talking about, like with Actman, for example.
Living their real life by choosing how they spend their time. The argument that Asmongold interferes with other people's ability to make money is a massive over-exaggeration. This video clumps people who watch Asmongold as this collective hive mind that doesn't really think for itself. I would consider myself an Asmongold enjoyer, and I have absolutely nothing to do with anyone else who watches Asmongold's videos. I just choose what I want to do with my time as a casual guy going about my life.
What you do not see is every time any reaction video appears where your video would have otherwise appeared. Any time where one of your videos would have got an impression, except it then went to a reaction video.
Not true. Your recommendeds are based off of the things that you watch. So if I wasn't watching it, then, and you weren't watching the original channel, it would have never been recommended in the first place.
You also do not see every time a reaction video is chosen by a viewer instead of one of your videos.
Now, I am not saying what Dark Viper is arguing is entirely untrue. There are people who would have watched some of these videos without first having seen them through Asmongold. But there's absolutely no way of knowing this, especially to what extent. If it were as simple as Dark Viper AU puts it, then I don't think React channels are the real issue anyway.
Well, I think that's a net positive, right? I mean, Mr. Beast lets people react to his content. I mean, I think Mr. Beast knows a lot about YouTube.
Choose how they want to spend their time, and that's ultimately what drives viewership. Dark Viper tried to dispute this argument in his video by explaining that just because there is a market for it doesn't mean it's a good thing. In my opinion, this argument is possibly the most important on the subject, but Dark actually didn't give a strong enough point to argue against the market deciding on this.
But shouldn't the market decide? No! There is a market for every terrible thing you can imagine. The existence of demand for something does not justify meeting that demand through exploitative means.
The primary message behind Dark Viper's video is that React content is objectively bad or objectively immoral, without giving any hint of acknowledging its nuances. I believe it's important to conclude that React content as a concept has subjectively and objectively good or bad sides depending on the context. At the end of the day, we, the consumers, are in charge. We dictate who profits by where we spend our money or our time. Yes, it's never good as consumers to support something that is explicitly illegal or immoral, but this is why I am challenging this idea that React content is just outright bad. I think what Dark Viper AU is saying is ultimately in good faith, and there is a lot of truth in this video. I recommend watching this video as it does have a lot of good points depending on context. Yes, there are a lot of bad actors out there that actually do just steal content without even giving any credit. This does exist, and I am all for breaking this culture where possible, but I disagree with the argument that all of it is just plain destructive.
There's a spectrum. I think that there is definitely a spectrum. Like with us, like what we try to do on like my channel is that obviously we do a lot of reacts, we do gameplay, I do my own videos sometimes. You know, there's a spectrum. And, you know, if people are unhappy with it or they don't want us to react to their videos, I don't react to the videos. Like, I have pretty much a you know, no questions asked policy with that. And the only exceptions that I make are when the videos are a topic that is me, right? If I am the topic of the video, I will react to it even if you might not want me to. But, like, that's about it. The spectrum? Yes.
The privilege of having Asmongold react to the very first video I made, the current state of AAA gaming, about 4 or 5 months ago. Because of this, and Asmongold following up by watching 4 more of my videos, my channel exploded. I even memed him about this.
Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced. This whole...
Incels and chads. There it is. Yep.
Subscribers aren't really the driving force behind YouTube's success anymore. The algorithm now prioritizes videos with strong watch time relative to their length. Every time Asmongold has watched one of my videos, thousands of people have popped in to leave a like, comment, or even subscribe.
Look at that. Wow, what a surprise. The obvious thing that any reasonable person would know would happen happens.
Awesome, don't get me wrong, but then naturally they click off and go about their day as they should. It only takes a few seconds for them to do this, but in the background YouTube is tracking how long people are actually watching the video as they visit my channel. When thousands of viewers only stick around for under 10 seconds, YouTube's algorithm starts flagging the video as not worth recommending. At the end of the day, YouTube only cares about one thing: advertising revenue, which comes from watch time. Money. This is a negative, but in the long run, React content can still be incredibly beneficial. While the initial burst of traffic from a big creator's reaction may not convert into consistent viewership right away, it does something equally important. It puts your content in front of a massive audience that would have otherwise never discovered you. Even if
there's been a number of channels that I've watched and they've received a pretty big boost by like just me seeing their videos or whatever. I mean, it's logical that that would happen as well. And yeah, I think anybody could assume that.
Percentage of these viewers don't stick around.
Yeah, for
a
sure.
small fraction will. Those who genuinely enjoy your content beyond the reaction will come back and watch more of your videos and engage with your channel over time. These are the people who become part of your core audience, the ones who comment regularly, watch your videos, and support your growth. Beyond that, exposure from React content can also boost credibility. When a well-known creator reacts to your work, it signals to their audience that you're someone worth checking out.
Exactly.
In my case, having Asmongold react to my videos helped give me credibility as a voice in the gaming space.
I'm gonna be honest, like this guy, he's really cooking with this video. I actually think this is probably one of the best dissections of like the philosophy behind why these things happen in games that like I've seen. This is really good.
This kind of recognition
and that's also one of the reasons why all React content isn't created equal. And I think also that's why a lot of people watch my videos. It's because I talk about it in a way that's positive. And I also try to actively look for videos that I think will be beneficial. Like, I generally don't hate watch a lot of videos. Now, obviously I do sometimes, but, you know, regularly, no. Has anyone ever offered a React for Cloud?